What's up, my friend? Consider this your official invitation to our upcoming 4-day mystical immersion conference. It's going to be amazing. We're going to spend 4 days encountering the presence of God, going deep into the heart of Jesus to choose our mystical identity. We're going to be exploring the power of your choice. We're going to be tapping into the mystical side of our faith, which is pretty much all of it, all while diving deep into our true identity, who we really are in Him. I'm so excited about this retreat because I've teamed up with some good friends of mine that's gonna make this thing even better. Myself, Gil Hodges from Kingdom Talks, Martin Smith with Identity Coaching, come on guys. And we'll also be joined by my good friend, Lahaba. It's always something amazing when I team up with these guys. This 4-day encounter starts February the 15th through the 18th. It's gonna be in Anderson, South Carolina. As of December the 4th, we have released the early bird special, so make sure you get your tickets ASAP because the prices will increase. I can't wait to see you in 2024 at the Choosing Your Mystical Identity 4-day encounter. It's gonna be amazing. Go to seer.school to get your tickets now. All right, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the TruthSeekah podcast. Excited to be here for this episode, this discussion, this hangout with my friends from the Ancient Way podcast, James and Marlia. What's going on, guys?
What's up?
What's up?
Ancient Way.
The Ancient Way.
I keep thinking of Ancient Path. Ancient Way, Ancient Path. It's the words are interchangeable. I think the translation change it up, right?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
The road less traveled, the narrow way.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get into the podcast a lot. We talked about you guys' story because for those who don't know, we did interviews individually on the TruthSeekah podcast with James by itself and Marlia as well. And so make sure you guys go back and listen to them. Also listen to me on their podcast because that was really good too. But
that was a fun
straight away from the topic a little bit of, reasoning, experiences, why and that kind of thing. So that's definitely something we can dive into, the ancient way, what it means to you. You know what I'm saying? You would think that it means probably something similar to all of us, but maybe TruthSeekah is a little bit too ancient. That's too far ancient. Not that old. TruthSeekah, the ancient way is, the 1700s Christianity or something. I don't know, but yeah,
I think it could be
that's short term. 1700s.
Should we read the scripture?
Yeah, we can.
Should we read it? I mean, it could probably even be called the eternal way, or because I think it's so ancient that it's ingrained in who we are, who we were created to be. And I think maybe the ancient way is faith.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
that's what they called Christianity was called the way. Christianity, even because this is before Christianity.
Yeah.
They were called followers of the way. It says, I am
the way.
I know the translations say I am the way, but there's some stuff where he's like, I am of the way. That path, I'm it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
We can dive deep into that and what it means.
Let's do it. Okay. Let's go. So our foundational scripture that just came up for us, and it actually started out of a spontaneous song that our worship leader sang.
We're remembering the ancient way.
Yeah, she said, we're remembering the ancient way. And she just started to sing that in spontaneous. And that, there was something that just resonated within me. It was that we are of the ancient song. We are of the ancient way. It was just this whole thing for me. But it's out of Jeremiah 6:16. It says, thus says the Lord, stand by the roads and look and ask for the ancient paths, where the good way is, and walk in it and find rest for your souls. So we were like, bang, that's it. That's the ancient path, man.
And this all happened too around the same time. I remember the morning she sang that song. I remember the feeling of that worship session and we were just talking. We were talking about another podcast. I think it was Blurry Creatures.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff that they've encountered and those stories like that. And I joke and I'll have ideas and dream all day long, but I'm bad about putting feet to those ideas. Getting better.
Me too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I told her, I was like, well, we got a podcast studio. Let's just start a podcast. She goes, okay, Saturday, 11 o'clock. I'm like, oh, crap. She's for real. Like, I nicknamed Marlia the executioner because she does things, which is I think it's a good team dynamic.
Yeah.
So that Saturday we came in and, we're like, we have all these crazy stories. We've got the Bigfoot stories. We've got all these
supernatural stories
that happen every day, every week on a regular basis. Like, can we showcase what a life of the Lord as a priority looks like? Which I think he's our priority. And it's like, we want every single thing that he's got for us. Can we fly? If that's for us, yes. Like, we want all of it. And so let's showcase it. Maybe over the course of this lifespan of this podcast, people can see the evidence, and take it for themselves and say, they're doing it. I want to connect to their God for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's our goal. I mean, I would say that's our purpose, to impart faith.
Yeah. And I think I think faith comes like unlock your mind. Like, things within are not as they seem, and things are far more mystical, far more supernatural.
Yeah.
What modern Christianity is so, I was going to say an offensive word.
Yeah.
It's just crap. Like, it is so powerless. It is so, like, you don't know who you are. You don't realize the beings and the creatures and all of the things that are surrounding us that are wanting to engage with us, the opportunities that we have, the dreams that are actually real. I mean, I just think that there's so much more going on. And people just need to have at least like pockets to hear, like, oh, normal people can access these things. Normal people can do these things. Normal people can have the most bizarre thing show up in their room at any given moment to speak to them, Yeah.
Supposed to. It's part of it. And we did start off on a safety, like, hey, here's who we are. And it's like, God is the good GPS, so to speak. He's not going to tell you constantly where you're wrong. He will lead you in the right path, in the right way, into all truth.
Yeah.
So we started with that foundation, and then I'd say we get fringy here and there. And we were gentle,
Yeah.
And
because I see us as really kind of the bridge of people who are in the religious system, helping them come out, helping them like experience things and realize like, yo, this is it's way more ancient. But also like, hey, it's safe. Like, we can go there. Like, because, you have so many people that are like, if you entertain a demon, you're going to be possessed, or like weird things. It's like, bro, that's not what that is, know? And so being able to hold space for that. But the other scripture I was going to bring out, because most people don't know this, but in Psalm 139, because everybody's like, oh, he knit me together in my mother's womb. And so everybody knows that portion of Psalm 139. But at the very, very end, when he says like, lead me in the everlasting way, it actually means lead me in the ancient way. Like, that's the original translation.
Yeah.
And I think that's the whole thing, is about like remembering who we really are, like getting back into that full understanding, because then you can make wild waves in this earth. Like, you'll transform it. So
no, it's, I mean, so many ways to respond to that, the ancient way, the ancient path. Whenever I go on podcasts and stuff, and they say, oh, Christian mystic, what's a Christian mystic? And it's just a Christian.
For sure. Yeah.
It's just a cool way to say it, because they say, mysticism or that stuff's anti-God or whatever. It's like, no, my walk with Christ my prayer life is pretty mystical. Yours isn't.
Yeah.
He talks to me. He shows me things in the world, like just barely scratching the surface is super mystical. So when I, introduce myself as a Christian mystic. It is just to, obviously it's play on words or something like that, but this walk, this path is very, very mystical. It's very ancient. And we're coming from something that was like the past was like our connection with nature, with all of the beings. We've lost it. So we have a bunch of Christian people in the mystical movement. They're wanting the next thing, the next age, and age of Aquarius, and coming into this stuff. And I've always been, let's look back and get it right, like, because we don't have what they had, and it's not. It doesn't take a rocket scientist. A lot of Christians know that, but they're looking for something better to come. But it's like we have something already here that we don't even tapped into. That is very ancient. So learning from them, and I'm getting pushback on it, just as people try to be more open, or even throw the Bible out. Christians throwing the Bible out, and coming with new stuff. I'm just like championing, like as I learn the ancient ways, like as I learn the ancient path, like there's a voice in it, as one crying out in the wilderness. Like you're learning it, and you can experiment, and you can try to apply it and wrap your mind around it, because that's the only way you're gonna. It's two lanes of how we've interpreted all of the Bible, including the New Testament or prophecies that are coming. We read it and we look at it as these coming prophecies of like what's going to happen versus what already did happen. And so we don't have a grid for it. And the ancient path gives you the grid. You have to be willing to look back at the past. Those who don't learn from the past are doomed to repeat it. If you don't know who you are or where you come from, you don't know where you're going. That's the ancient path. And it's so mocked and ridiculed and laughed at, but by the majority. But it's becoming more popular, for Christians and non-Christians alike. And so we, this stuff, we've been forerunners in a lot of it, but it's catching up. And I tell Christians and whatever, like, if the church doesn't get hip to this, then they're going to be left behind. They're going to miss the churches, miss the rapture, because you're left behind. If you don't go back, and because this stuff, if it worked one time, it'll work again. And instead of trying to reinvent the wheel, look back and see what they were doing. And we already know there's, just pick where you want, even with color therapy and stuff like we talked about. Little things like that. That's like, this isn't some new, technology, some new far out stuff. It existed in the land before time.
Dude, look at the pyramids, though. I mean, just that alone. The freaking Pyramid of Giza had a freaking healing chamber where the acoustics of it actually caused your body to come into alignment. They would literally put people down there and they'd sing through it. And it would heal their bodies. Because of the resonant frequencies. It's like, why are we not actually tapping into that? Why are we not exploring that at least?
They weren't these primitive Neanderthals that, were made to be. One thing you said, Derek, was like, people getting left behind. We had a guest on the other day, and he said, like, you either move forward or you die. It's like the true left behind is like no movement, that stagnance, that comfort, and like that boxed in church thing. But I've had this recurring vision and dream of like this cave, this like purple orange cave, like the Cave of Wonders on Aladdin, that kind of color thing to it. And I've seen like the cloud of witnesses around it, like the actual church saying, go this way, go this way. And I feel like us who are following the Lord fearlessly and like courageously and whatever he has, and being open to what he has, we're stepping into that continuation of what they were doing, like picking up that torch finally, 2,000 years later, like, oh, that's what this is. Let's pick it up and let's continue what they were doing. And I feel like we are at the point where we're stepping into it. And maybe everything has had to happen for us to have understanding, and like the snares and the traps, and like nothing's lost. There's gold in all of it. But I do feel like we're at that threshold of, okay, now we're picking up the torch. What they were onto. I think that's where we're at.
It's
in mysticism.
the Bible. It's the
Yeah.
It's New Testament and Old Testament. Like it's
Yeah.
the exact same thing. This church age or whatever we got going on, this dispensation, it's the same thing that you're reading about. You're reading about people who were in ecclesia, who were called out of this majority, who were like the true souls, the ones who were really from, they're really children of God, but they just forgot who they were. And they're mingled in with a bunch of people who are pretending to be children of God, who really don't have their best interest at heart. That sounds like the institutions of today. I mean, it's the same exact thing that they all were going through. It's our turn. We're like, oh, because in our head we think that, like, okay, that was then. This is now. The Pharisees have long gone, and now Jesus is in the church, baby. Jesus is running the church at large. No, the state runs the church at large. What are you talking about? Like, Jesus runs people. And people are in these churches for sure. But Jesus is in us. So the Christ, this was the same for Jesus and those guys doing church and his disciples living life, doing their thing and daydreaming and thinking, and it was coming to them until they were reminded and they were awakened. And somebody filled with the Spirit, inspiration of the Holy Spirit, spoke to them, and it resonated deep in their hearts. Just like it's happening now. I've been a recipient of that, and I've been able to do it. Like it's happening. It's real now. It used to be something you read about until you're like, wow, when we hear about the mysteries of the kingdom, our hearts are burning. My all the hair standing up on my body. I'm trying not to cry. All of these things, just talk about any of it. This is their testimony in the Bible. They said when Jesus spoke, they were like, oh my God, our hearts are burning in us. We feel like we're drunk when the Spirit's here. Like all of these encounters for them. And guess what? It's the same thing, but it's multiplied.
Yeah.
Now, when any of us step aside and let the Christ speak through us, the people's hearts are burning and they're holding back tears and they're convicted of sin and whatever, edified in righteousness. It's all of it. It didn't change. And guess what? The age to come is going to be the same thing. This is this process of making Christ more in the earth and to purify this thing. And you got to look back and see how it was done, because it's not it is Old Testament too, and before that.
I think it's so, dude. Yeah. There's something you were talking about, like the church age and all this stuff. Like so many people have gotten caught up in end time theology that it's actually made them, for lack of better words, like stunted. Because they don't actually grow, they don't evolve. It's either like we're getting raptured out of here, so I'm just going to buy my time here, or basically like screw it, I'm just going to kind of do whatever because whatever. I have been studying the end time thing for a little bit now, and I wholeheartedly believe that we are under the quote unquote mission to restore all things. Like we are the restorers of the entire earth, the way that it was back in Eden. It's like, that's the end game, that kingdom age or whatever that you want to say is like, we're planting heaven here. We are bringing heaven into this earth. We are returning back to the ancient path of establishing what Jesus paid for, which was the restoration of all things. It's like, man, it gets brighter and brighter, not darker and darker. So all these weird prophecies of like,
but it's real to them though.
For sure. And it probably will be darker for them.
This is blasphemy to them.
Yeah.
You said that Jesus is coming to earth through you and Jesus is establishing his kingdom. No, he's going to do it when he physically comes back through I'll
pour my spirit out on all flesh, but
I got friends
of mine who I think I scare them when I say like I don't know that Jesus existed or whatever. Like literally, dude named Jesus. They get scared because you're like, oh, you're the best. I wasn't there, right? But I know that I live my life like he did. I commune with him. I don't know any of it. Like the Vatican can come out or whoever and say, yeah, we made that story up. It was taken. It doesn't change anything for me, right? Because it's the it doesn't change anything. Oh, you were living it, man. He still talks. He still comforts me when I'm weak. Somebody that answers by that name, right? So, you know, we'll look at. I'll say that, and it'll scare some of my friends or listeners, and maybe rightfully so. But because the scripture says, "Who is the Antichrist?" But one who denies that Jesus came in the flesh. You just denied that he came in the flesh. No. I'm talking about he's here right now in us. I'm not denying he came in the flesh. I'm talking he's here in the flesh.
In the flesh.
Today.
Oh, yeah.
Today. So no, I'm not, there is no, don't get scared because he is. I can feel it. I can see it more and more as my heart moves to love. And we have to teach each other to see him in each other. And I it was a deep session Sunday with my students, but you know, a lot of people look at me and I get kudos and credits. I could see Jesus in you, brother, and the Lord's using you, and I honor you. Let me buy you dinner. I'm gonna honor Christ in you, and you know, and it's part of it. It is, and I think I offer the energy back to Christ, and I say thank you to the people, but it's got to be vice versa. I have to be able to look, see him in each other. Like we had a group, and I said, y'all got to look at each one of these people here and see Jesus and honor Jesus and speak to him in each and every one. And that is the body of Christ at large. And
that's a unity.
And it's everything. It's not even just Christians.
Yeah.
Everything is every situation, every circumstance. Like, so you talking about prophecy fulfilled. Yeah, that's it. He's here. And for like, that's judgment for some people. That's restoration for others. That's a you know, the terrible day of the Lord, the day of vengeance, the day of wrath is when I'm committing evil atrocities and there's people on earth who are showing that there's a better way, that we don't have to do that anymore. Why? Because Christ has shown us the way, because he's in us. He is the way.
Yeah, that's mysticism in a nutshell.
Yeah.
I took this note last night, which
Christianity in a nutshell.
That's it. Yeah. They're the same thing. I took this little note last night talking about what you just said. Like, I'm just going to read it word for word. I take tons of notes, but I put, maybe the reason that we are all uniquely and wonderfully made, one of a kind, is so that we can learn to see, because everybody's so different. You look different, you act different. But maybe the point is that we can learn to know one another by the Spirit, by him, because the only thing that we all have in common truly is him in us.
Dude, that's so good.
That's the one constant in it all, is him. And that's in us. It's in creation. That's mysticism. That's the unity of him. And I think that's the restoration of all things, is coming into alignment with that, bringing it out of people to the fullness. But that's been an issue. And I've had conversations with people, you know, talk about controversy and stuff. I had one guy say, you know, what's controversial is Jesus wasn't white. He wasn't, you know, he was black. He was Middle Eastern. I'm like, yeah, but that's even missing the point. He's all of it.
Did you see my video?
All of it. No, I didn't. Did you do one about this?
Oh yeah, that Jesus video? I sure did.
Yeah, it was a response.
I laughed out loud at it. I was so glad you did that.
Yeah, it was a response to that, but even the response was to miss the point of, you know, of just to what you're saying. Like he wasn't white, he was black. No, that wasn't my point. Wasn't that he was white. It was to answer something else about where we get the white Jesus from, because it was a big thing going around that was a lie. And I just addressed the lie because it was. But all the others, like, he was a black man. You've missed it. Listen, you deserve to have a black Jesus. You do. You deserve to have a white Jesus. There's an Asian Jesus in Asia, the Hindu Jesus. Like, they all deserve, because that's what he is. So even, but if we're talking about the historical Jesus, was he he was a black man that lived first of all, I'll go back to what I just said. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, but we're missing the point. Is that the most beautiful image of Jesus is one that I seen it a while back on a magazine or something, and it's my favorite one. But it's like a collage. You know how you take all the photos of like all your family photos and stuff, and then you zoom out and it makes an image. But it's just all of these different people, Black, white, Chinese, Muslim, Jew, Christian, whatever. And it's all these different pictures laying on top of each other that formed Jesus.
Yeah.
And that's what he is. That's what he was.
Even if you look at historical Jesus in the Bible, he shows up to the disciples and they don't recognize him. Is he showing up as a woman? Is he showing up as a Asian dude?
Yeah.
Probably all of them, because the point to them was like,
no one by the
did
Spirit.
our hearts not burn when he was walking and opening up the scriptures to them? They didn't recognize him.
The road to Emmaus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Until afterwards, like, oh my God, that was him. That was him. You know him by the Spirit.
You know, that's funny that you say that about that picture, because it was probably like 10 years ago I heard that. There was a lady that was really struggling with that, and she actually prayed and asked the Lord, like, will you show me you? And he came to her in a dream, and he was a bunch of different people. He was like, it was a mirage of so many different faces and colors, and it was, I mean, the most mystical thing. And I was like, that's it, dude. He is everybody, everything.
Which is such a mirror to like the body. We are all a part of him.
Yeah.
A piece of him. Or the fullness of him.
I say old Christian song. It's several years old now. I forgot who was the original singer, but it's called God Speaking. I think Mandisa did a version. What if it's him? What if it's God speaking? Have y'all heard that? I need to play it at some point. But I know Mandisa did but it's just talking about,
write it down.
Have you ever heard a love song that you cannot? Have you ever cried a tear that you couldn't explain? It's all of these little nuances. It says, what if it's him? What if it's God speaking? Have you ever met a stranger who already knew your name? What if it's him? What if it's God speaking? You got to go back to the ancient way. You got to be able to look into these other cultures and stuff to really understand your Bible, because this was a part of their religion, to honor everything and everyone that you didn't know. So, and it's the idea of where we get strangers from in the Bible. From Genesis to Revelation, even when the stranger comes into your land, honor him, treat him as a brother. You don't know who that stranger is. In the New Testament, Jesus is telling his disciples, teaching them, hey, when I was in prison, y'all visited me. When I was thirsty, y'all brought me water, man. Thank y'all. He's giving us a game on how we are going to see him and how they were seeing him too.
Yeah.
They're like, when you was never locked up, you were never in prison. We never, who brought him water? He said, man, when you did it to the least of these, y'all were doing it to me and you didn't know it. And when you disrespect and when you persecute and when you mock and when you laugh at the least of these, you're doing it unto me as well. If you don't meet them where they are, he is the stranger. He is everything. He is what holds this realm together. And it's up to a believer, right? Is the ones who can see that if we're called out, we should be able to look at him in other things and call it out. That's a superpower, to look at a bad situation and prophesy to it. And give it a new name. He said, no, that's not, death is not the end. You didn't lose your battle to cancer. What if death is what if that transition is the victory for promotion? What if we're hanging on to our lives in this realm, but the next realm is so much better that you're expanded and you get to govern? I'm just saying, what if?
Yep.
You can change it. Oh yeah, the enemy won. They lost their battle. Man, the enemy ain't won nothing.
Yeah.
The enemy won. He's defeated. Death is defeated. Sin is defeated. The grave is conquered. There is no death. They transition. They're somewhere else, but they're still here. Guarantee you that. So call that's Christianity. What do you think a great cloud of witnesses is? But being able to minister and speak to you through the wind and through waves and through your dreams. They're everywhere, all at the same time. This is what we call Christ, and all of those things are in Christ. They're in his body, and we are in it too. And so, man, if we can't connect like that and be able to look, we've missed them. We've congratulations, you've got religion. You're definitely not in relationship. But
Beautiful.
it gets deeper, right? So we're learning.
That's what we talked about yesterday with Kat on our episode, was like the superpower being awareness. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. The awareness that he's here in every single thing. That's like the starting point. And then it's discovering him in it, like finding him in it. Like what you're saying.
But even pulling it out, like pulling him to where it's not hidden anymore, but it's being brought to the forefront.
Yep.
Like, because I think even him, he will hide. Not like hide himself from us, but he will I'm seeing it like the natural world will try and take precedence over something, but then we get the opportunity to extract it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's making a way in the wilderness too. Yeah.
It's hey, isn't that scandalous and controversial?
That's life, man.
The most scandalous message, man. It's that, it's love, and but then it's
I think that's why the darkness tried to kill him, or did, they tried to kill him, but he gave up his life.
The ball is in your court now, though, because now you're just not a victim. Now you have something you can do, because if you know he is in every breath, and he's in every person, he's in every animal, why? If God was real, if God loved people, if God was so good, why would there be starving people? The question is reflected to you. God says to you, why? The ball is in your court. The ball isn't in God's court. God is in you. You're here. I'm telling you, the only thing that separates us from the kingdom is they don't have thumbs. You do. You have feet. They don't. They don't need them in that realm, but we need them in ours, and we need them in our realm. So, like, the ball is in your court. Why does God allow war? Why do you allow war? Why are you
true,
at war with yourself? Why are you at the ball is in our court? And so it's like, we like to play the blame game, because what is Christianity but not the blame game? And he takes our sins and he's did it. He's the whipping boy. He's the scapegoat. Place the blame. It's like we need to take responsibility. If we are endued with power from on high, our voice does carry weight. If we can prophesy, if the law of attraction is real, it is. What are you attracting? If God is in every moment and we are able to extract him out of every moment, then what are you doing with that? Or what are you doing with the moments that you're not? Is there even a moment that you're not? Because you wouldn't be here if that was the case, but it's your awareness of it. And when you become aware, then it's like, what do you do? Do you pray? Do you hang out? Do you talk to yourself and talk to God? Are you in communion in your imagination and in your heart all day? Or are you waiting for the encounter? Are you waiting to be Paul walking on the road to Damascus and get knocked off of it? And it happens that way, right? For sure. But when you know that you have the responsibility, because he's in you, in anywhere you go, anything that you breathe on is Jesus. He's co-signing it. I know that could scare like traditional Christians, but what Bible are you reading?
Right.
Like,
it's Bible in there. We are this, I call it like an authority sandwich, basically, because it's like the ball is in our courts. In our court, it's like all of creation is groaning, waiting for the sons of God to be revealed, waiting on us. And the Lord, it's like he's waiting on us to make his enemies his footstool. If that's not in our court, I don't know what is. And the fact that, hey, it's better that I go away. How incredible would it be to have physical Jesus sitting right here next to us? Like, hey, Jesus, what do we do here? What would Jesus do? And he's here. It's like, no, it's better that I go away, because I'm going to replace you with me. You're going to carry me with you. You're going to wield my power. You're going to wield my faith. That's the ultimate power. And it's us. Like, I'm going to do this with you. Somebody, I think it was Bobby Connor, said, I won't ask you to do anything unless I'm with you, unless I'm doing it with you. How relieving is that? But it's like what you're going back to you, like the redemption of all things, heaven on earth. We do it.
Yeah,
That's what we do.
I think we're fully in charge of things here. And I think even what you're saying, like, why do we have war? It's because we've allowed it. But when you were talking about that, one thing that just struck out to me was like the limiting belief that people carry, right? Because there's so many things that they're like, well, I prayed for that and it didn't happen. Like we base so much of what we're doing off of our experiences or even living from past experiences instead of catching him and catching his vision and even catching what were they doing. And I'm going to walk in what that was, period. Like
ain't your way.
I'm not going to, I'm not going to judge by what's happening here.
Yeah.
I'm going to live by a different reality. And so, you know what?
Or prophesying the election.
Yeah. Or we could, prophesying Trump and it's like, oh, well, that didn't happen. It's like, okay, well, then you missed that. Was that your own will or were you aligned to the heart of the Father? And if you have a view that somebody here is going to save you, you're probably going to prophesy something like that.
Yeah.
If you don't see yourself as that powerful to make an influence, you're probably going to prophesy something like that, where it's like, you actually have the power to change radically everything. And it's like, well, no, we have the government and
more so equally than whoever's in the White House.
Yeah.
You don't know if you're not
leaning into that.
Of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think we're not getting saved by this system, by the systems of the world. Things are not being transformed that way. It's being transformed by the system and by system, that's big parentheses, but of heaven. It's like it's the ancient way that will liberate everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're not going to happen. They have happened. Let me rephrase that. They are going to happen, but they have happened. They're happening now. And they're going to happen again. It's the only way that Jesus is the one who was, the one who is, and the one who is to come. These are all cycles that we're in. And these cycles are smaller than we think. These cycles are within a 24-hour period, each hour, each month, each year, versus these of Christ coming back, of the dead in Christ rising. People understood that.
Yeah.
Like we miss it the same way the disciples missed it when Jesus returned. And this is, they woke me up out of sleep and just told me this. It's obvious, but it was like, you miss it because we're looking for people. We're looking to see a humanoid that looked like what you thought they looked like.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so Jesus raises from the grave. They didn't know who he was. He's with them. His spirit, him, and not only him, but he rose with the dead in Christ, rose with him.
Yeah.
And if people would, what
already happened.
Like this is happening. Dead in Christ are rising out of the ground, and they're ascending into the heavens. These are processes that have been established since the foundations of the world. And when light, my God, it is nature. When the sunlight hits that moisture, and there's activation and there's a release, it's souls are being released, information is being released, and now they're here with us. Now what do? That now you're entertaining spirits unaware, angels unaware. Do you talk to them? Do you help them on their journey? I'll say I'm no expert, but I know the ancient path was. I'm looking into how they were operating. What did they do? Were there, and if you're open to it, he'll reveal it to you in the scripture. It is in the scripture. So, but you can't see it because you have no grid, because you think that, every time you read, there's a picture that comes in your mind, and they gave you the picture. Religion gave us the picture of even what Jesus looks like. Like that's a picture I use the picture to the best of my ability, but I know that that's not Jesus. I even have the white picture of the white Jesus or whatever. I'm cool with all colors Jesus, but that's not him. I'm attracted to the light in his heart. And the reason I have the one that I have in my office is because his light is just out of his chest, his sacred heart, the light is just so radiant and beautiful. I was like, I want that one. His light, he looks so meek and humble, but then his light, and it's like, that's not Jesus. I'm looking at the light.
Yeah.
That's because the light is Jesus.
Yeah.
That's Christ. And that's what's inside of us. So we got to be able to look back and just look at things differently. It's fun. It's fun.
That's cool.
For those watching, I'll show you guys. I'm gonna show you guys this, and I'm gonna try anyway, because I've tried to show this to some of my students, and they couldn't really. The camera wouldn't focus. But you have to be able to look at things differently, because things are not as they seem. So this, what I'm gonna show you, should be, I think it's 6 circles. I think. Let me see if that's what it looks like. Can you, is that showing up?
Yeah.
6
circles. Have y'all seen this?
No.
6 circles. And for those of you who are listening on the podcast app, you have to go listen. You have to go find the video. 6 circles. But then you take it and then just do a little magic switcheroo.
Incredible. It's angles.
Triangles or diamonds.
Yeah, diamonds.
Things are not as they appear, right?
Yeah.
And then real quick, switch it. Circles.
Oh, wow.
Magic.
So cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
We're told something was one way. And then so every time the way the Bible works, it's the way everything works, when we get to it and we read that part, we just keep, you don't have to give it any energy in your imagination, because you already, a picture of Jesus shows up.
Yeah.
Even when he raises from the dead and they don't recognize him, we still think it's like a regular dude walking around.
Yeah.
Or, little things we've heard, which are all through the scriptures. But they just make you think, because you can slow down. Say, hold on, what is that really?
Yeah.
How it was? Like a big one for me. I think it's kind of obvious and funny, but the full armor of God. We've heard that, we've taught it in church. It's very important. And but what's the image that comes to your head if you was to teach that in a diagram, to put on the full armor of God, that you may stand against the wiles of the devil, right? You have the helmet of salvation, the belt of truth, the sword of faith, the shield of faith, the sword of the spirit, and the boots of the gospel of peace. And you see an image of a Roman soldier. The church showed us that.
Yeah.
Church.
They sell that in the stores. Yeah.
Yeah, you can buy the outfit for trumpet.
Look like Goliath, actually.
Right? So, but
yeah,
that's in the Old Testament. We think that's a New Testament concept, the sword of the helmet of salvation, like Yeshua in the Hebrew. But they wasn't wearing Roman outfits. That would look like a magician, to be honest with you. It would look like a wizard. It would look like a Levite priest.
Yeah.
But why is it not taught? Because the Levite priests, they're operating in some deep energy, if you will.
Yeah.
Which a Roman soldier wasn't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's little things like that. It's like, hey, how about we look at these things a little bit differently? Because now I'm like, okay, what does the sword of the spirit look like? What did they have on their head? Because they were wearing a helmet of salvation. It was a mitre, a head wrap with a gold plate with the name of God written in it. And they had swords. They had magical daggers that they would. So now we get into binding and loosing spirits.
Yeah.
Is that and I believe in that. And I believe that we can pray and say, I bind you in the name of Jesus. And that's what it's come to mean. But that's not what that means in the New Testament. Whatever you bind on earth is bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth is loosed in the heavens. This is new. The only way you'll figure it out, and any of it to make sense, is to go to the ancient way. How was they binding and loosing? Is this a brand new concept? No, none of this is new. There's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah.
So you can go to the Old Testament and get a lot more context. You can go to Egypt, you can go to Babylon, you can go to Sumeria, you can go to Greece. They're going to teach you binding and loosing, and it wasn't walking around saying it. I just bind the heavens right now. I bind this. I bind that devil off of my mind. We've made it make sense, but if I want to know what it was talking about. And
Yeah.
it leads to the ancient way, the ancient path.
Yeah.
So that now when we read the New Testament, it's like binding and loosing, and I'm going to give you the keys of the kingdom. And wow. And then we read later that they was bound, and Paul was bound.
Yeah.
He bound these other things, and he bound a person, and he bound oh Lord, how was he doing it? And you start reading nuances in the scripture of him moving and gathering elements and starting fires in his body. Oh my God, don't get me started on how this is the Bible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I thought I knew it. That's an old book. We all know. It's the oldest story. Everybody knows that.
Everybody knows.
Yeah.
The new things that God's doing. Listen, if you're not out here, if you don't know what binding and loosing is, then you should probably look it up.
Yeah, figure it out.
True little concepts that, I mean, we have to slow down and just, what was this?
Go into the depths.
Yeah.
Instead of just take the concepts. That is the one thing I have seen is like, we are so conceptual. We just want the concepts. We don't want to apply it. We don't want to make them a part of us. We don't want to like do quote unquote the work to walk into this to where because then we're held responsible. You know, it's like, oh, now you actually have to do the things. If you know, because if you're going to make it a part of you, you then actually have to live that out.
Mm-hmm.
I was even thinking, you said something earlier that triggered the thought of, you remember when Abraham and Sarah, they entertained the strangers and it turned out it was the Lord?
Yeah.
And they set a meal before him. I was just thinking that. I was like, how often throughout your day are you setting a meal for things that come by? How often are you like, hey, let's commune in this?
Yeah.
You know, versus just like bypassing things or just going through your day or waiting for the Lord to come talk to you. Or I don't know. It just struck me that one, like when you were talking about that, it struck me so hard of how many times throughout the day we actually have to engage with the angelic, to engage with the ancient path, to engage with the Lord himself and like live in that place of setting a meal and then exchanging, bringing the exchange.
It's an aspect of communion too, to break bread and like remember me.
Yeah.
And all those things.
It's with an energy.
Yeah.
That offering, you know, when we remember him, like, it doesn't take much. You know, these days anyway, you know, I don't know, but to feel him, you know, like, you know, and I even share my testimony. I've shared it. I used to travel to churches and share my testimony for years, and it's powerful or whatever. It's a talking point and whatever, but like, it's different now. Like now I can almost get through it without crying and breaking down. Like something changed. He's here, man. Like it's not that he wasn't here then, but like there was some kind of veil that was in between that I only knew him a certain way, or I thought that he only showed up when we prayed or whatever the case is. Now he's like, he's in everything and in everyone.
Yeah.
So, that's how they looked at it. They understood that. We have to look at it and understand.
To me, that's the real Christ consciousness. Like that's the real Christ consciousness, being aware of him at all times. It's seeing him in anything and everyone. It's like, it's not that we're just trying to become this thing. It's like, no, dude, we see him everywhere. We feel him everywhere. We feel him with us. We feel him as our real dad, who freaking is that ball of love, dude.
And wielding his perspective.
Yeah.
I got two things before I forget, because my little thoughts will fly away like birds.
Then he has to chase them.
And I got to chase them. I got to reel them back in. Two things. One of them is just like a side question. You were talking about the daggers that were, what did you say? They were like these magical daggers.
Yeah, they're called dirks.
Okay. Well, have you ever looked into, because I've tried, I haven't got very far with it, but Goliath's sword. It has some kind of magical power. And I don't remember, it was in some kind of like Jewish folklore, but David kept it, and it was like no other, and he kept it, and there was some sort of power to it. Anyways, I was going to ask you, have you ever delved into that?
Very little. I'll say this though, more on the side of David's sling being some type of crystal device. crystals,
Oh, cool.
something that emits energy, and that instead of thinking it was a rock that he threw, that it was he knew how to harness music and sound and frequency. I mean, we know that.
Yeah.
We know that crystals can harness that, amplify it, emit it. Moses hitting a crystal. So I've looked more into that, but I've heard those stories and the Jewish lore, that how they remember that, how we fight with these spiritual weapons.
Yeah.
And it's whether to have a mock one down here on the earth, and it's there's a heavenly one fighting with you, and the angel is bound to it. But the best way to that, in my study, I've looked at it. David eventually, like when they would learn a technology from heaven, from the angels, the enemies would learn it and copy it, convert it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you can do that. We can do it too. And then they would fight with their own thing. It's like, Lord, give us something new. Like, give us a new item. And then eventually David's like, he says, I'm paraphrasing, but he basically says, I can fight my battles and wage war with you without the sword. I can do it with my hands by itself. So now if you look into the ancient Jewish mysticism, you know that they put sigils on their hands, and then that they can do mudras and hand signs to move and push energy. I say that to get to Moses. When Moses was battling,
was it Og?
And he had
Abimelech
and her with him. And we know that he had his hands in the air. And so there was a war. And as he was fighting Abimelech, as long as his hands were raised, that he was winning the battle. But as he would drop his hands and become exhausted, then they would lose. And then so Aaron and her come and grab his hands and are moving his hands for him and stuff. And so obviously there's so many analogies that we heard that are beautiful. I don't throw any of them out. That he was in a place of worship. He was in a place of surrender, right? As long as he had his hands up, surrendered to God, that, that he was winning his battles for sure. But from my reading of all of these spiritual weapons, that there's the likeness of it is bound. You bind it on the earth to your hands. And now as you move your hands, so Moses is doing battle, like almost like, a wizard from like Doctor Strange and stuff like this, as he's moving his hands and fighting this battle. And you have more Jewish lore that talks about these stories. A book for everyone to get. It's freaking amazing. I haven't finished it. Whatever I've read in it has blown my mind, but it's called the Legends of the Jews by, I think it's by,
write that one down.
By a James something. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But he basically took a bunch of the stories and a bunch of the stuff that they passed down through Mishnah and through the Babylonian Talmud and all of these oral traditions. He wrote them down in stories so that he like introduced them to Gentiles. And that's the whole thing of what they said, don't do. Don't teach the people our ways. So as I'm talking about this spiritual technology that the angels gave the children of God, don't give it to your enemy. They're going to use it against you and they're going to hurt themselves with it. So there's a certain type of, reaction that we get from Christians when we talk about any of this stuff, is because they can't trust themselves with it. Their mind defaults to evil. Like if you can conjure spirits, if you can do divination or whatever, and you can, and you are, is what I'm bringing to the table. You already are. Everything is magical. Then they would use it for evil. They don't have, like, how can we, same thing like I kind of just mentioned in passing with the law of attraction. How many Christian videos show that the law of attraction is demonic and all this? What about what you believe shows itself to you? And if you have that energy, let's use it for good. Let's do it. Like, let's think about people. If you think about it and you focus on it and you emit that energy, then it shows up. Can we envision a world healed? Can I envision and it worked? This is the way I got into the prophetic and had no idea that it was even working. Father, give me a word for these people when I get there, Lord. I know you can
Yep.
speak to me, Lord. Guess what I always had before I left the building? A word.
Yeah.
I positioned my heart, asked and believed and received, and you can have anything you believe for. That's the law of attraction.
That's good.
It's like, why
He's
would
been,
you demonize it? Let's use it for good because we already are. It's the
yeah,
labels. The labels, the thing that we
It's a trap.
demonize the words.
He has been showing me that, ushering things in, because he'll give me words. He'll show me the future. He'll show me what things are turning into. And it's like, now pray into it. One thing that he's been teaching me to do so gently too is like, James, when you pray for something and you start to see it, don't just say, okay, oh, there it is. Okay, I'm done praying for it because it's here. It's like, follow that thing through into its fullness. Usher it in into its fullness and like continue to attach your belief to it and usher it in, manifest it here. Like that is heaven on earth. But it's a practice I've been doing. Like, okay, don't stop there. Yeah, hell on earth too.
That's what's in you.
He's like, bring it. He's like, I showed you this, like, bring it in. And so the consistency thing for me is like, okay, I'm going to continue looking at it, speaking it into existence, and bringing it into it until it's that fullness of that vision that he gave me. And it's like, it's funny how quickly and how visibly it works, you know, and it always has. He's got a pretty solid track record. He really does. He always pulls through.
Yeah.
But it's sweet. And I mean, yeah, I've got examples, but that's it. That's what it is. That's heaven on earth. Manifestation. It's in the Bible. Or what did you call it? The law of attraction?
The law of attraction, man.
Even
manifestation,
I mean, that's what it is.
They demonize that word.
Yeah.
Like, manifest something beautiful, man. Manifest an encounter.
Oh, I'm sorry. My second point from earlier, what I really value about you is that you break apart these words. And you talked about earlier, like the guy that used to be your mentor having magic. Like he seemed like this looming evil figure, like scary warlock, but he's just a man buying a video game.
Yeah.
You deconstruct words that have that spell attached to them. Occult, mysticism. That's one thing I value about you is you'll like share those words in there. It's like, hey, this is just a hidden thing is what this means. And it demystifies it. It breaks a spell that is associated with those words. And like we're talking about manifestation,
the law
mysticism, magic. It's like, why are you so turned off by those words? Like, here's what they mean.
They're interchangeable.
It's not that scary.
There's a Christian version of it. I like, even with the word magic, I kind of use that to shock people a little bit, but it's spirituality. Like, that word is interchangeable. Like, I'm going to use my magic to help. You're right. But my words are magic. Not just a magical saying, every word. If I write a song and that's comes to pass, like, we would, if we knew the weight of our words and that every word was magical and it's the same breath that's in you that God formed a reality through, we would probably not gossip. We probably wouldn't complain. We probably wouldn't, have an idle tongue. Like, we would be someone of purpose.
Yeah.
Jesus mastered it, man. I mean, even in front of the Sanhedrin and stuff, they're, hey, you got one last chance. Tell us what truth is. Tell us all of these things you've been doing. You just, man, if y'all ain't heard me the whole time, there's nothing I can tell you right now to convince you. I've been talking the whole time. Like, so when to speak and when not to. Like, he knew there's a time, there was nothing he could say to convince them people. If I haven't convinced you yet, that's nothing I could say.
Yeah. It triggered a thought of, but even Jesus told them, like, he was talking to the Pharisees when he said, like, the kingdom of God is within you. And it was like, he knew it didn't matter. It wasn't about proving that point. He was just going to say it and let it fly and know that the spirit within him, his spirit was already within them, and it was going to reveal it at the perfect time. And so I think even having that mind of, like, you can speak when you feel inspired to speak about something, but then let it ride out. Like, you don't always have to say other things. Like, let time pass and watch it happen.
Let it float around those
I
people.
love
Yeah,
doing
let it
that with
float
the
around.
audience. That's so big. Like, let's say so big. When I get in front of an algorithm, like I love it. Like if two people get to see it, it still works the same way. Trust me. But when it's working with like, you know, a negative connotation versus something positive. You know, a simple post, Jesus is awesome, man. Jesus is so awesome. Jesus wasn't real. Blah, 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 blah. That's not his name.
Yeah.
Somebody else, oh, he is awesome, man. Like the beauty being in the eye of the beholder is I value that and how we get easily offended, how we're married to these old doctrines and words that don't mean what we think they mean. It's very interesting to see how all of that plays out. Even when I mention occult, like, you know, you got to be careful. You want to, you know, I do it tactfully, you know, to make people think, but it's very strange. I named my album White Magic, and I spelled it like with the mystical way. And like, I put the definition as the opening song of the album that from Manly P. Hall. And he says, white magic is to use the forces of nature and of man and of the universe to use the forces of God for the betterment of the world and to help humanity. Like how simple is that? But somebody can see a word like occult or white magic and their mind will go to something that probably has nothing to do with any of that. Their mind goes to something negative. And you know this by reading the comments. You just said Aleister Crowley and we can sacrifice children. What are you talking about? I didn't say anything. Where'd you get that? Who lied to you? I didn't say anything about Crowley. Oh, now you're vouching for Crowley and killing children. Oh man. I just said the word occult. Yeah. Like, but that's where their
associations,
their mind went there. That word has nothing to do with any of those things. Yeah. It's funny. I'm going to do a video. Hopefully today. I got a lot going on. Hopefully today. There was a comment on the occult video. And listen, there's an art to stimulating the algorithms and doing this, and soliciting a comment to say that. But somebody was like, they were mean about it too, but they were like, you know, the occult is not a neutral term. God warns us about the occult, and you're making the Bible say whatever you want it to say, and you're gonna burn, and you're gonna find out soon, brother. The occult is not a neutral term. And after the video, they still didn't get it. Yeah. But I want to do another one on it, just showing, you know, all you gotta do is go to the Spanish version of the Bible. Scripture says in Jeremiah and a couple other places that the secret things belong to the Lord. So to challenge or to mess or to poke, I would say the occult belongs to God, brother. The true occult, because that word hidden, the hidden things, it's in the Spanish Bible, it literally says the occult, the occultus. Yeah. That's all the word means. That which is hidden belongs to the Lord. It don't belong to the wicked.
To these people that stole it.
Gave it to them.
That misrepresented. Yeah.
I'm not giving it to them. No. Taking it back. Yeah.
Creation. Everything is ours. It really is. It's ours. That's good, man. That's good.
That pulls the cap back off of things. It's like allowing yourself to challenge every construct or even ideology or words that we've brought association to.
And the danger of absolutes, the danger of saying like occult bad, I'm going to watch this whole video with the mindset of occult is evil, the whole thing. And I'll watch it in the end like, I watched it. That's evil still.
15-minute video. They said, this is demonic. I say, which part? I can't.
The whole 15 minutes.
I can't address this is demonic.
Yeah.
But you can show me which part you think, and then I can.
Sure.
The whole thing. I talked about how beautiful Jesus is, and he's saving souls. But the whole thing was demonic. Are you sure?
Yeah. Are you sure? Yeah. I love that you're able to navigate it, though. I mean, saying that you're going to go to hell and stuff. By the way, one thing, your music's great. I listened to that White Magic album, and I've been listening. I listen to your music the past couple of weeks. Freaking Flight of the Navigator.
Oh man,
Beauty of a Thousand Suns. I can run marathons with that stuff.
my God, yeah.
And it's the lyrics and the sound reinforce one another. So there's that from me. You won't get that from everybody, like you've said. Like, eye of the beholder, but I love your music.
Like, yeah, no, those are good songs you mentioned too. I love those. They still touch me. Like it's
They're good.
with it or whatever.
They're good, and I love the voice clips you put at the beginning of them too. They're great. And anyways, but you being able to navigate the people that call you evil or say that you're operating in evil and stuff like that. This is one thing about Christianity, being meek, being humble, is like, the cool thing about being a Christian is like we have the right to surrender our rights. We don't have to have, we can surrender our right to be offended. We can surrender our rights to have rights, and that frees us. It's like nothing you can say is going to offend me because I've got him. I've got his heart. I've got his mind. And they, I mean, you know, the cat of nine tails, they were shredding his back up. Forgive them. They know not what they're doing. It's like, no, dude, he's ripping your back out. He knows what he's doing. He's putting the force behind it. It's like, no, he deeper beyond that. He does not know what he's doing. That's a superpower. I think you wield well. It's like,
yeah, I do. You know,
I can talk to these people.
Yeah, I get better. It's not easy. It never gets easy, but I
Sure.
bring it. It's funny because I bring it on myself, and then sometimes I complain about it. Like, you know, I want to be accepted by my church friends and stuff, and it's like, nah, why you want to be accepted, and you post things that, you know, people can't vouch for. You named your album White Magic, and you want to go rap at their church. You know what I'm saying? Or so there's this weird little, you know, thing that I've created that it's just in the middle. It's not. It's too Christian for New Age, you know, and too New Age for Christian. So here we are. But guess what? We're finding that that number is increasing, and there's a lot of us out there. And now it's first it's mocked, it's ridiculed, then it's accepted. And this is what, you know, it's always been. It's going to be. It's always been a narrow path, and that path is in the middle. And to heed to your politics stuff, like that's where the truth is. Even in that, people, it doesn't take a rocket scientist, but we're married to the party. We're married to abortion. I'll never get it. We're married to these things that, okay, but you're for killing other people's children, dropping bombs on other people. Like, they don't. This whole thing, I mean, we probably mentioned it on your talk or whatever, but I didn't know that there was a role in the church called the devil's advocate. Like, I know what the devil's advocate is. It's somebody who is not married to a party, but they play the middle line to really deepen conversation, or like in a debate, say, oh, well, what about this, TruthSeekah? You said this, and now you're doing that, right? Which is the advocate, right? The devil's advocate, to play both sides and not be married to one or the other for an outcome, even though like you really are, but to be a real judge, as like a judge is supposed to be, you can't show partiality except for the truth. And you know, that's what I've like lived that, you know, my podcast has been that. I still do that to provoke conversation, to get to the bottom of truth. I mean, God does it for us. Like, that's how he talks to me. Just play. He answers your question with a question. Ponder and immediately, oh, there. You know,
think about it.
The ways with these, you know, enigmas or whatever. And it was a thing in the church that somebody who wouldn't be partial, they're partial to truth, I'd say that, or to God, but to, as far as to people or to be bought or something like that. I think that's how we're supposed to be. We stand up for truth no matter who's speaking it. Whether I don't care if it's Gandhi or Muhammad, and if you walk in that, eventually you'll see Jesus, because you'll find out he was doing it too. It don't matter if it's the Pharisee, the Sadducee, the Gentile dog, like what the Jew, it don't matter. If there's truth in it, he honored it. And if there's any truth in it, and they speak according to this word, right, there's truth in it. That's Jesus. So to be one who, you know, tries to navigate through that, I think it is a calling, you know.
That's cool. And if it's true, you can take a flamethrower to it. That's what questioning it is. You can blow it up. If it's true, it will remain. It'll be there.
That's the
so it's like, I think we're made to question everything. We're made to do that.
the tattoo on my chest. And it's funny too, because it provokes a weird thought, but
Oh
it's
yeah.
from the Apocrypha. So the books that were
Yeah.
taken out, the Bible, but it's from the book of Sirach. Strive for the truth unto death, and the Lord shall fight for thee.
Man.
Truth is truth.
Yeah.
You know, your fight, God's got it. As long as you're on
He
the
is.
side of truth, man, and
Yeah.
justice and what's right, even what's, there's grace there. Because I mean, come on,
Yeah.
like there's a way that seems right to all of us that, until you're shown a better way. But
Yeah.
God honors what you just quoted. Forgive them,
Mhm.
Father, they know not what they do. They don't know
Yeah.
what they're doing. So there's my grace is sufficient for that. If they knew, then they wouldn't do it. I'm under the impression that if people really saw Jesus for who he is, everybody would just be enamored with him.
Yep.
But you've seen my Jesus. You've seen, Fred Phelps, the
Oh
Western
yeah.
Baptist Church Jesus. And that's the only Jesus you've seen. He's not
Yeah.
holding that against you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, they rejected Jesus, man. Because that word Jesus to them, it don't mean what it means to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It comes with a whole bunch of baggage that is not Christ by any means. And he
Yeah.
honors, man, he honors that. He really does. I believe it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Mm.
So
I really think that's so true. I was just sitting here thinking, I was like, yeah, dude, like the distorted monster face that has been put on Jesus,
Yeah.
that has been like mass produced throughout the earth. It's like the Lord's like, dude, that was never me. They were never like, they never knew me,
Yeah.
but he's willing to show himself up, like show himself true. And so
To anyone.
to anyone,
who's open, willing. Yeah.
as long,
Loyal hearts.
never been that to me. I'll try to, like, if you come back over your life, like, has he ever?
Mhm.
It was
Mm.
probably a distortion, right? Of
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that he's not hard or whatever, but it's all in love and it's in grace. And so there's a meaning and reason behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's never like this mean, angry God who like because the way they portrayed us, he can't wait to come
Yeah.
and destroy the wicked.
Yeah.
Wicked are destroying themselves, and we're getting caught up with them. So the grace is to come in. Hey, man, let me instruct y'all, man, because the Lord chastises those in
Yeah.
which he loves. He got to correct you. You're hurting people, man. You're doing the wrong thing. Let me blind you, Paul. Come on. You got to learn from you. You're not like you're hurting people, but it's in love. It's not to shame you or to mock you. I've never, in all of my seeking, searching, all of my error, all of my positions of my heart and idolatry over all the just life, man, in navigation with Christ, he's never been he's never been an a-hole. It's always been, hey,
Right.
man, when you're ready, we're ready to quit
Yeah.
playing games. When you're ready to do it, I got you, but you got to
I'm
quit
here.
doing those things. I'm not going to threaten you. And
Yeah.
so if he's not like that with us, he's not like that with the world,
Right.
Mhm.
the
Right.
wicked. Like they're like that with themselves. I'm
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that with myself. All those things that I just named, the Lord he never put those titles on me. I did.
Mm.
Never,
Yeah.
like we call people those names and they're not right.
Mhm.
We call ourselves those things and they're not
Yep.
right. So the goal is to see people and see ourselves like he sees us and sees them.
Yeah. That's good. I'm the same way with you. He's never once gotten catty with me or whatever it looks like. It's almost like, hey, buddy, here's what I think. Here's what I see. And it's like, you have the choice. He's never once said, you better get out of that. He's never been that way with me. He's never been the football coach. He's never been the dad, none of that stuff. And that makes me want to, when he provides the options, like, hey, buddy, I care about you. I love you. Here's what I'm seeing here. Here's your options. That makes me want to go for it. It's the goodness of God that leads to repentance.
Yeah.
The kindness of God. It's
What
like,
you're missing out on.
you are so sweet. I'm following you. I love you. I'm going this way. And it's like a no-brainer.
Mhm.
But it's also out of a place of freedom, not good and bad, not that tree.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's just these little concepts, man. Even the
Yeah.
tree of knowledge of good and evil and all that stuff. Like you hear all kind of weird doctrines or whatever that aren't biblical. They'll say that So I've heard people say psychedelics are the tree of knowledge of good and evil. I've heard people say that the opening the third eye is the tree of knowledge. I've heard so much stuff that, or
Mm.
even not even if they give it a label, they'll say you're eating from the tree of knowledge, brother. All this knowledge you got, TruthSeekah, you're eating from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. It's not the tree of life. No, no, no. There's life in this knowledge, just so you know.
Yeah.
It's Jesus is there. But these ideas, and once you have that, if something that you can do or something you can eat from, and maybe it is, but I want to look at it differently. You know why? Because that's a tree we've already eaten from. So it changes your connotation, and it changes the prophecy. Like, TruthSeekah, you're deceiving people. People are already deceived. The scripture tells you that the enemy is blinded the lights and has deceived everyone already. It's not going to happen. These prophecies aren't going to happen. Again, they happen, they are happening, they will happen. And unless you stand up and do something about it. But it's always pushing the goalpost further of something that's coming. There's a great deception coming, brother. Turn on the television. These people are already deceived anywhere you go. The church is everyone's deceived. I'm deceived. And so how facetious for me to think that I'm not. We all are a level of deception, and we're waking up and coming into the truth. So for the people who would say something like that, you guys are eating from you would think that nothing in your limiting belief, is.
Yeah.
And there's so much
right
comes with that, even the death concepts, right? Like, who's to say how much? It's more than we could ever think. I've given a few in this talk, like ways we've been tricked or whatever. And I don't want to focus on that, because if I know it's a thing, let's focus on the tree of life. Let's eat from that, because that's what's gonna come out of you when they persecute you, when they squeeze you. What's really in you is coming out. And it's good. It's a good thing. Let the bad stuff come out. Now you can deal with it. You can address it, because you didn't know it was in there. You didn't know
you can let it go.
Hurt from whatever. Or sometimes the anointing comes out. The oil of joy comes out when you're squeezed, and Jesus comes out, and I love it. Sometimes, it's not all the time. I wish it was, but I'm still here for that reason, to get more of him.
We're growing into all things.
There. And I think, like you're talking about the cycles, the things that have happened are happening, are going to happen again. I think every time it happens, though, if we're with him, it changes. It becomes more gold. It becomes more light. And I think it's getting to that point of heaven on earth, the entire thing.
Yeah.
Where darkness has no place to dwell.
I think that's like, the Israelites, they, when they would go around the mountain, it was literally like they would cycle up, so it wasn't, nobody ever just went straight up. It was around the mountain.
Yeah.
And I think that is actually extremely profound, because we have the ability to circle up the mountain. So it's like, just because these things are manifesting doesn't mean that there's not light also there. It's like, no, we're going up the mountain.
Yeah.
Of course these things are going to come out. Like, we want them to come out, because the higher we get, the more oxygen we need.
So all food for us. All food for us.
Yeah.
And look at everything. The Israelites, the seed wars, all this stuff, like the physical battles. And now it's like the demonic. And like, if our wounds are healed, they don't have a place to live. And like, what happens when darkness gets cornered and there's nothing left, and it's just pure heaven, pure light? It's fun to watch it, and it's going there. And
I think it's exhilarating, though.
It is exhilarating, but it's like the core of it's in here. It's in us. Yeah, it's so much, but it's eternal, and it's like there will never not be growth and more.
I think that, but even more, there's no more fear in anything.
Yeah.
So then you can go search things out, and there's no fear of like, am I going to be tricked, or am I going to be deceived, or whatever?
He's
it's like,
with you, who can be against you? You can go anywhere.
Go
look at
the idea that you already are. Like, don't
exactly.
God, I'm already deceived. Can you help me in my deception? Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, got you. Versus like, don't get tricked, because you're protecting something that you think you got it all figured out. You're not, there's
Yeah.
nothing new, no new revelation, no new understanding for you because you've got it all.
Yeah.
I'm still learning because these things are still changing. Maybe I'm
Mhm.
wrong. You have to be open. You have to be,
Yeah.
we are.
Yep.
If you want to learn,
That's humility, dude.
Yep.
it's truth. All these people are lying to you. They're just pretending they got it figured out. And some of them are better than the other ones.
Yeah.
Protecting or because they're scared of death or whatever. These people who with these absolutes, man, we know how absolutes they're slippery and they don't last.
Oh yeah.
God loves you to act like you have an absolute. He is the one thing, the only thing that's constant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm talking like everything is his. Submit to him. You know, the moment we come with these solidified truths or whatever, he loves to destroy them. They just are. So he's constant. And just let me be in one thing that is constant. Let me be close to that. Because all these ideas that I made up in doctrines and what's really happening and what's the nature of our reality and who the Antichrist is and Jesus was really, that stuff's changing every day. They did a hell of a job confusing us before we even got here.
Yeah.
They were waiting for us to catch knowledge. And the angels are too. God uses it though. Like that's a part of this realm. Like the deception is part of it to see what you do. Because in your deception, you get a little bit of light, a little bit of enlightenment, which is what Christ is. How do you use it? Oh, now I gave you a little bit of truth and you're attacking people with it, man. You're hurting people. Man, I ain't giving you no more. Yeah. The angels and God, that's how it works. It's between you and the creator. He knows all of this is happening for a reason. In your development, in your understanding, in your suffering, in the things that you rejoice over. Like, why do I want to prosper you? You rejoice when people fall.
Yeah.
I want to elevate you. You rejoice when your enemies fall. You don't pray for them. You don't pray for the ones who persecute you and despitefully use you like Jesus told you. There's a reason he told you to.
Yeah.
If you do that, there's a blessing in it for God to exalt you. And so we should be looking for enemies, like at least searching our heart, not trying to make enemies, but like, I want to be at peace with all men, so peace with myself and with my God. So I have no enemies, but let me search. Maybe the enemy is the Facebook comment. Maybe the enemy is the contentious thing that brings something out of you to challenge you, pray for them, pray for those people. Works.
I feel as you're saying that too, this is just a thing. Maybe somebody listening to this is an analogy that I use. It's kind of immature, but it makes sense to me. To somebody who's thinking like, well, how do I do that? Like, how do I forgive somebody? Or how do I let go of absolutes? Letting go is a big one because it's so uncomfortable and it feels like it's you. It feels like it's your being that you're having to sever. But like, it's not you, but feels like peeing in the swimming pool. It's that level of discomfort of like, oh man, I'm not supposed to do this. It feels like you're going to fall off a cliff. But I think a secret in that, I'm just feeling this, is like, just make the decision. You don't have to feel it, but just make the decision to say like, yeah, that enemy, the guy that like my boss that chewed me out in front of everybody, that humiliated me, I'm going to simply make the decision. I don't have to feel it, but I'm going to say, you know what? I am going to choose to release him, to forgive him. He doesn't know what he's doing. And then your feelings will come into alignment with that. And then eventually that'll be your response, your reaction, your nature. But I feel like if somebody's listening to this right now and it's like, I don't know how to do that. I can't do it. It's like, just make the decision first. It's the yes in your heart. Just choose it.
Not to get weird, but I also think there's an element of visualization that really helps release things out of people.
Yeah.
That I think it's one of those untapped secret weapons, to be honest, like, is actually visualize letting them off the hook, however that looks to you, letting that set sail, letting it like come out of your body. Because a lot of the time I think when we hold pain, it's so much about our person because we're offended because of what we think they just told us about ourselves. And so it's like releasing that and then asking the Lord, like, hey, what do you actually say about me?
That's solid.
And it's like when you can actually catch, what does he think about you? What does he value about you?
Yeah.
then it's like, oh, he humiliated me. He don't know me. I heard an example once that I thought was brilliant. The guy was like, hey, you have blue hair. I don't like your blue hair. I don't like your blue hair. He was like, are y'all offended by what I just said? And everybody was like, no, we don't have blue hair. And he was like, exactly. When you realize that what they're saying isn't already what you know about you, you can't be offended because you're so solid. And I was like, bro, that's a secret to not having offense.
Yeah.
It's like, good. It doesn't matter what you say.
Yeah. And what you said, the visualization.
Nothing.
That's a tool.
Already told me. You like the enemy, the accuser, or I haven't already told myself, however you want to put it, you know. And I think the times it hurts is when it echoes what the enemy has told you. Or
totally.
What you said about, and when I say the enemy, like the things that you don't like about yourself, that that you're insecure or you feel shame over or something like that, and then you hear it echoed from somebody, you know.
Yeah. I'm getting into some weird stuff, but I really believe those are mirrors. So like anything that's being said is just a mirror of what you already believe or think about yourself. And so it's actually like turn the reflection onto the Lord and like let him be your mirror. Like let him reflect what he thinks about you.
That's good. That is good.
Those are the triggers, you know, that you identify what you can give God. That's just what I say. You know, all of this stuff, talk about this hurt and all of this stuff that we have, and we all have it, and we all get it. Yeah. You don't have it, you may accumulate it later, but
it's coming for you.
Oh yeah.
So just kidding. Things you can give. That's and I'll say this: all of it'll burn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll burn. You know.
Thank God.
And so God can purify it, that we can make an altar in our hearts and in our lives and give it to God. So we want to give them the good stuff, the good offerings, you know, and the fun stuff, because we don't want to just bring them bad stuff too, you know. It's one thing, we only show up to pray when we need help or something, right? So we want to be able to rejoice and thank him for the beautiful things. And that's where gratitude comes in.
Yeah.
Start looking at through your life. God, thank you for my family. God, thank you for my health. God, thank you for friends. Thank you for my ministry. Thank you for podcasts. Thank you for my heartbeat, my breath, and and I'll tell you that you want to facilitate an encounter. It's gratitude. So we want to do that and be thankful, but also the other dark stuff, you know, go through the dark things that you're doing or the habits or whatever that you can't stop, and give it to him. It becomes hard because you're like, well, I already did. I keep giving it to him, keep giving it again. Eventually, I tell this to people who've had, like, you know, pornography addictions and stuff like that, because it's worked for me. Like, when you feel the urge to do that thing, or depression, or whatever it is that's creeping up to, like, I'm your identity. You think, let's look at your bank account. Like, man, you have to, in that moment, catch it. Oh, I got something I can give you, Lord. I got something. And to be honest about it, even the feelings. It's we want God to deliver us. Like, he already did.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
You're not a machine. You're a living being. And the thing, like, when you feel these feelings or these addictions or whatever that you can't stop doing, I mean, it's even in responding to comments. People, I mean, you guys brought it up, but a lot of people, they honor me for that, and they ask me, I wish I need to get better. But you catch yourself. Guess what? I still do it. I'll type something, and we've seen memes on this. Holy Spirit says, "Don't post that." I better not.
Yeah.
Delete.
It's like, let me delete it. Like, but to catch yourself and say, you know what, Lord, I'd rather seek peace with these people.
Yeah.
Like, to be honest with you, we want to get the last word. We want to get the upper hand. I want to prove them wrong, but now it becomes personal and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So even with, and I'll just use the two things that I've struggled with: pornography addiction. A lot of people have, but also drinking, like alcohol.
Yeah.
And they can't stop, or smoking or whatever. Be honest, be open.
Yeah.
Ask, how does it make you feel?
Yeah.
And I don't want to, like, I'm married and things, but like, what did pornography do for you? Man, it made me feel good. Like, it was an instant release, instant gratification. instant
Yeah.
gratification. I didn't even have to do anything. I love the way, women look. I would say I love the way my wife looks. Be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
God already knows. You're not hiding anything from him.
Yeah.
You need to be honest with yourself.
So good.
That's it. Drinking. It was the same thing with drinking. I used to come home and couldn't wait on like a Friday, couldn't wait
Yeah.
for a prayer meeting. When I got born again, man, we're going to be praying Friday night. I can't wait. I'm thinking of it all day. Man, we're gonna pray. Listen, people are going to fall out. The Holy Ghost is going to show up. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
We're going to seek God. And guess what we did? Friday evening, we did. Couldn't wait to get off of work, calling on my friends, lining people up. Hey, y'all coming? Oh, you better come to the prayer meeting. We got 15 men at a prayer meeting. Awesome. Eventually, I couldn't wait to get home from work to drink beer.
Yeah.
To call friends. I'm calling friends. Hey, y'all want to drink tonight? Y'all want to hang out? I'm still a Christian, but it's like something changed. This an offering. Lord, it's something I used to delight myself in you. Now I'm delighting myself in alcohol and addiction.
Yeah.
Alcohol makes me feel good. I like, to feel something like I just want to feel. Alcohol makes me feel like there is no pain in the world. My problems don't exist anymore for a few minutes. Guess what? His presence does that.
Sure enough.
No
Yeah.
nothing exists in his presence. There's no enemy. Ask King David. In the shadow of the Almighty, nothing exists but him.
Yeah.
We want to live in that. So be honest with yourself and with the emotion of how it makes you feel. Like dive deep into each one.
Oh yeah.
Because there's a reason you keep going back to it. And when you are, then you can consciously grab that. Lord, it makes me feel good. I feel like I want to be okay. And so alcohol makes all my problems go away. But Lord, make me feel even better.
Yeah.
Make every problem go away. And in that moment, if you can catch it, you want to receive an identity, it'll burn. I'm telling you, we can take it, we can grab it, catch ourselves in it, and give it to him. Identity stuff, I still get made fun of all the time about my teeth. I'm super insecure about my teeth, even with smiling, my accent, the way I talk. You sound like a Black person. You're a wannabe Black. All of these things that I've heard my whole life from people that they echo it. And I got to catch myself. Lord, I give it to you.
Yeah.
Because they'll sink in and become part of your identity.
Yeah.
You do think you're Black. You do think your teeth are jacked up. And then you see then you see like famous influencers are saying, hey, when you start out, if you have money, don't invest it in Facebook ads. Don't invest it in this. Invest it in getting your teeth fixed, because that's the one thing that you got is your look. So you want to make sure. I like all of these Grant Cardone's they've got all kind of stuff on this, and it's like, oh, your teeth are jacked up. You're this. That's the enemy. So that's not my reality. That's Grant Cardone's reality.
Yes.
Yeah.
Guys, that's Grant Cardone. That's not me. Why am I comparing myself to these people? And they're mirrors, because we both heard the same Grant Cardone, video, and it was a jab for me. And somebody else was like, "Oh, I'm glad I don't have messed up teeth. I can invest my 3,000 in Facebook ads or whatever." These little things, and I want to give all of it to him. The good, the ugly, it'll all burn. And I think that's what everyone can do that. And it's in the beauty of the breath, in the moment of just saying thank you.
Yeah.
Even when the stuff comes that, is a setback, he's got a way of working it out, man, if you'll let him.
A period setback, man. It's all an appearance of a setback. I think everything in our life is actually for forward progress. And so it's like for our good, it's for our growth, it's for the movement forward. It's like there is no such thing as a setback in the kingdom at all. And it's like anything that we
call death, that too. I have to.
Yeah.
The enemy didn't win. I have to. If I'm looking at it for everything else, because I know holy, like the most godly people I've ever met, the most genuine people, like, why, kind of thing. And like, you got to be the one that make it make sense.
Yeah.
It's not, it's to you. How do you make it make sense? Did God fail again? Because guess what? He probably gonna fail again and again and again. If you believe he failed, no.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing. And when we talk about ancient paths, there's probably the why is probably way deeper than any of us can comprehend. Of like even times of the year and the stars and the waning and waxing of the moon when somebody goes home. Like that's how deep it gets when hey, you've got a window. I need you. It's on. This is when I call all my prophets home. This is when I teach my prophets. That's where this stuff gets fun, that we can just I might not know it, but he does.
Yeah.
Lost in trying to figure it out. But he does. And I know that the secret things belong to him. So I'm his.
That's it.
Hide me in the secret place.
That's
for real though. Because then I love that scripture in Amos, like he doesn't do a thing without revealing it to the prophets first. And to me, a prophet, this is going to be controversial, maybe.
Just do it. Do it.
Everybody is, because everybody can speak what he says. And it's literally just his word. And it's like, we've tried to attach labels and identities into XYZ. And it's like, no, dude, it's people who hear his voice and release his words. That's period.
No hierarchy.
There is no hierarchy. The Lord actually showed me that about the fivefold ministry. He said each function of that is actually they're designed to be the greatest servants to get people to function in that vein. So in that lane. So if you're quote unquote a prophet, you're actually called to get under people and to teach them to hear God's voice and release it. Period.
Let them have everything you have.
Yeah.
And run with it.
That's it. Yeah. Like there's no like, oh, the prophets are the best or the apostles or whatever. It's like none of that actually is a thing.
No.
The teachers get under to teach people to teach, to share the very things that are within them. Yes.
Yeah.
Without a title, without being told.
Yeah. Without calling yourself the thing. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It just comes naturally to you. It just comes out. It's like
prophets prophesy, teachers teach, intercessors pray. It's just,
but it's to build up. It's for the work of the ministry. It's actually to build up the people like that. The whole thing is about building up people. The whole thing is about getting people to, I believe, function in their real self.
Yeah.
Which kind of, for me, it goes all the way back to what you were saying about just all the pains or anything that is within you, which I love, is that Psalm 139. Dude, talk about full circle.
Yeah.
But, Psalm 139, that very part about the ancient path, he asked, like, hey, if there's any way of pain within me, reveal it, basically.
Oh, yeah.
And it says, and lead me down the ancient path. It's like, it's Psalm 139:23. It says, search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me and know my cares. See if there is any way of pain in me and lead me in the ancient way.
Yeah.
It's like I think the wrestle is like letting go of the pain, letting go of anything that's going to limit our understanding of who we are.
The condemnation.
Yeah,
the
condemnation, shame.
With those things. That's what honesty is, like the absence of those things. It's like, I can just tell you. I can tell you how I feel.
Yeah.
That's a superpower. I'm glad you brought that up.
I know. I could feel that like resonating.
You can be honest.
Yeah.
There is no condemnation in Christ.
And I love that whole thought of the offering.
Yeah.
Just to go all the way into that, like everything is an offering. Everything is a vibration that you are being released. And it's like the sound waves even of transparency and authenticity. I heard that just this week, is that authenticity, they measured it, has a higher vibration than even love. And it's like, I think authenticity is what produces love. If you're not authentic, you cannot be in love.
It's like it's truth. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's so, but when they go together, it's but like I said, they have to go together, I guess. But I try to, think about somebody putting on a show or something, tending to care, because, when you've been through something, you have a natural empathy or compassion for those people. And that's one thing that Jesus was moved with all the time, was compassion for hurting people, for hungry people, like for people, that needed help. He was moved with compassion, and you didn't have to pretend that you cared. He really did. So I do really care. Obviously we all have our own things that there's no way I could take on the sins of the world, right? I can take on the sins and the burdens of the things that I'm compassionate about, that that I can make it personal. And we all can. And that's the beautiful thing with the body, that you have other things and you guys have other things and this and that and this and that. That allows me to see Christ operating in those areas, to doing some degree of good in an individual, in the world. And so I can see it and honor it. It's not even up for me to change them or get them to believe like me, or it used to be about that. But I'm glad my beliefs and doctrines are so far out now that it's even hard for me to know what I believe many times, But there is no like, hey, do you believe that? Today I do, but maybe not tomorrow.
May look different tomorrow.
But I'm open, yeah.
But guys, I've just enjoyed this hanging out with you guys. Marley, I know I gotta give both of you a way out. We went way past you trying to do like.
No, you're good. I squared it away. We're good.
Sorry about that.
No,
it's all good. Flies by when you're having fun. I do know that.
Equally our faults.
No, I actually, to me, I was like, dude, we're such in a sweet pocket, and it felt like it was so intentional. I was like, forget it. I'm good. So.
Cool. Well, you guys give me the go whenever, because I'm enjoying,
Hey,
too, so
since we're doing a podcast, you can clip this part out. I wanted to go back though, because I was curious your thoughts, because I've seen the armor of God be put on people, and it was translucent light, and it was light that was like light and easy, and it actually didn't feel heavy. It felt, and I've seen like that gold. I actually saw a gold crown being put on people, and I actually have seen the small dagger, which is just so weird. I didn't know any of that history, to be honest. So when you were talking about that, I was like, holy crap. The things I've seen in the spirit, you are confirming.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But
You're
even the belt
of things I read in the Bible, because I read it, and it in the New Testament, put on, because it's the word is interchangeable for the armor of light. They call
I didn't know that.
Call it the armor of light in the New Testament. If you look up whenever the armor's talked about again, I want to say it's Corinthians or Ephesians, but it says put on the armor of light. So literally this light is what it all looks like. That's why we can't see it. But once you get light in you, you may be able to start seeing it, and we're starting to see it. Let's say that we have to.
That's good.
And so once we start seeing it, we can help each other. The world's not going to see it. The scriptures is clear that they're not going to see it. But we can. It says, dude. It says, this is this huge, like, man, so many scriptures about the coming kingdom, that it's an invisible kingdom. You can't see it. That's why he was with them and they didn't even know it when he came back. They couldn't see him. We may have talked about this, but he was probably an apparition, to be honest with you. It was probably what you'll call a ghost, or he just wasn't solid or something. Like, there's something to the text, because it uses the word appears, and the word it uses is an apparition, and they didn't know who he was, and you start reading some of this stuff and the certain words pop out. It's like, wow, he was, they could see him, certain ones, the ones that if something appears to you, you're the one that's able to see it. And we're starting to see it. I mentioned in passing, not to go deep, about the spirits being released from the earth and the souls and things, like I'm seeing them. Other people too.
Yeah.
It helps with the, you're not crazy. It really does. Obviously, God says it, you need to know you're not crazy and trust that, because where you are the only one, or you don't know the others yet. So you have to step out the boat in faith. But this invisible kingdom is here. Most likely it's been here. There's no, the kingdom is coming.
Kingdom's at hand.
You're coming.
Our yes and our alignment is like cracking holes in it. It's leaking through to the point where I think it's going to be visible. And it's like, we aren't going to have you're going to have to pick, you're going to have to believe in one thing or another, because it's just going to show up.
No, but
It's leaking.
we're getting. I'm prophesying, but I'm telling you my life. We're about to start being able to call down. Like you're about to be able to fly.
Yes.
So look in. You got to look into antiquity, how they did it. That's what I'm saying
Yeah.
too. We get into vibration, but many times they were carried by the spirit.
Yeah.
A spirit or their spirits or their angels. They carried them.
Yeah.
The evil, the wicked learned how to do it. They were carried by demons. And so you could rebuke the demons and they would fall.
Yeah. Like Peter.
So
yeah.
if this is happening, we're going to begin to start seeing them. You got to get into the place where you're willing to experiment.
Yeah.
And maybe they're not carrying you yet. This gets into, we call it witchcraft, call it whatever. Tear a little piece of paper and see if they'll pick that up first. And if they can pick that up, if you can say to listen, this is a beautiful analogy. If you can make the mustard seed move, and you learn to, I bought a pack of mustard seeds that I keep with me just because of that. If you can make that mustard seed move, and literally there's a magical saying in it. It says when you get to the mustard seed or get to the mountain, it says, say this.
Yeah.
So now my brain is like, okay, is this the Latin? It's not the English for sure. That didn't work.
Yeah.
Is it Latin? Is it Hebrew? Is it, is it tongues? Is it intention? What is it? If you can get that to move, you can get the mountain to move.
Yeah.
Just look at David. David can defend the flock of sheep from lions, bears, tigers, wolves. Oh my! Then he can defend God's flock.
Yeah.
From any giant, any oppressor. If I could do this with this and with what you've already given me, I don't have to go use your armor and do it the way you're doing it. It wasn't working for you, so it's not going to work for me.
Well, yeah, you'll never know if you don't try.
Let's do it. But obviously, it wasn't working for you if you're too scared to tap in. So that's where we are.
A lot of it boils down to double-mindedness too. It's like if you're in the moment of trying it and it's like, this is weird. And it's just like, yeah. And then it doesn't play through because you're not wholeheartedly.
You don't have belief.
I opened the door without touching it one time and it came into my hand. And it was just out of simplicity. I remember not thinking too much about it, but I reached my hand out and it was a door. It's always a gas station. It goes into my hand. And my brother saw it. He was like, whoa. And I'm like, yeah, whoa. But it's just like,
you know, Bexley did that the other day.
Did she?
No, legit. She was laughing and she was like, it's my force. She's 3. And she literally stopped the vacuum from falling and she put it back.
Yeah.
Like legit.
Yeah.
And I was like,
it's there.
All right, I'm here for you.
You gotta be willing to exercise your authority over creation and like what the Lord's given you. It's like these signs and more. It's just life should be that way. Yes.
Star Wars Yoda stuff, man. I mean, I told you, like when I watched it too, that was just it was the Holy Spirit was Yoda, like Luke.
Yeah.
And the absolutes, only Sith, the absolute is the path to the dark side. Like this is these are universal truths that were from the ancient world. George Lucas didn't make that up. He actually got it with the help of Joseph Campbell. Who studied mythology, and the myths are repeated.
Yeah.
They are the cycles, the way of everlasting. From whichever way you look at it, the realms. These are the
myths that are true. Yeah.
And we're in them. We're in one. We're maybe working our way through all of them. Not That's sure, cool. But we're connected on those. We need it now because everything else wasn't working. We pretend that it was working.
Yeah.
Pretend that you're healed, brother. Go on. Everybody claps and they push them off to the side, and the person's really not healed.
Yeah.
I believe in this stuff too much for that
let that go
anymore.
Yeah.
So I have a friend. I have a friend who actually just told me that story. A story for her. Her parents, they were she was like raised in a cult and like uber religious, but they've created so much pressure on her and And it created so much anxiety. She would pretend she couldn't hear.
Mm.
So she would just like, whatever. And then they were like going to make her go get like hearing aids and all this stuff. And she was like, I faked a miracle. I was like, I'm healed.
Yeah.
But it was,
to get them off your back.
yeah, but it just created so much pressure. And I was like, I see that in the religious system.
Ooh.
There's so much pressure to have these things or even to do these things or to believe these things.
Yes.
It's like, man, what if we just don't question, it just has to be like this. And it's like, that's pure, that is the darkness. That is like pure manipulation. That is like chains where people can't be free. It's like, dude, so what if she was 7 years old and didn't subscribe to y'all's super religious doctrines, you know, like let the kid explore. I don't know. To me, that's so profound of like, don't control. But when you said that, it made me think of that story. I was like, that's what religion does. Religion will make you make something up or.
Yeah. I think we've caught glimpses of a lot. And I'll say that even with the prophet thing, like, you know, I know we all can prophesy, but it does go back to what you said though, because in my mind, a prophet is versus what we've seen. Trump, let's use the Trump prophets as just pick on them. Easy to pick on.
They're just easy. They're easy targets.
Yeah. So if you're a prophet and you declared that Trump is going to be elected, then even if he wasn't, he is because you as a prophet of God said it. He wasn't going to get it. He wasn't even supposed to. But now because you have a magical tongue, you have weight in your words, because you said it, because you blessed me, because you blessed this nation, because you blessed Trump, he gets it by default because you said it. So in my mind, like that's the level of what a prophet is or what a prophet does. And I know that we all prophesy, and you say we're all prophets. It's true, because is that not what we're already doing to some degree on some stage with our life and our reality and with the power of our
everything.
Words? You said it.
Yep.
You're the one that opened up your mouth and said whatever you said, and you created it as you spoke. Abracadabra.
Yeah.
You just didn't know the weight of it. So what I found with that is the wicked, on the other hand, is different. They don't have the power, but they want you to say it. They want you to believe these things and to get you to echo it. And because you're creating the reality, you're holding back the spirit. And so he said, no, I'm not speaking that anymore. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to believe that. I'm not going to vote. I'm not going to hold up your illusion that I want. It's so like the way the matrix is tearing down. It's like, the angels are begging. You're like, look at the two. Look at who the best of both sides. This is the best of both sides.
The fact that you have two options blows my mind. And you're taught like, here's a problem. Usually it's a war or a sickness. Here's a big problem. Here are your two options. Focus all your energy here. Pray into it. Speak into it. Pick one. You rebuke anybody that doesn't pick one. This is it. Everything happens here. And it's like, wait a minute. No, that's a massive distraction. Massive spell.
We got to start.
I had a dream. Yeah.
Planning things, experimenting with it, like in small ways, not in big grandiose ways of, well, it could have been. I've tried. I mean, I'm not the best. I think there is things that come into play that we call witchcraft, as far as not the days and times, man. Like it just, there's something about the hours, and there's something about Jesus having, I was telling people this from my studies, maybe the hours are important.
Yeah.
The Bible wouldn't tell you every time, what hour it was when Jesus did something or something good or something bad, or he wouldn't assign hours to people. Watch hours. There's certain hours. It's a big deal. And then Jesus goes and gets 12 disciples who govern the day. Like, did each one of them have an hour where they got to operate with their angels in the spirit? So he had it covered to where, boom, everybody showed up in their hour to do what the governors do and watch in the hours. Did there's a lot
Yeah.
in the Bible, and not just in the Bible, every
Everywhere. Yeah.
every religion. I mean, it's the sun's making its way, governing the day. I wanted to kind of bring this up even a little earlier when we mentioned the time zones, because I was
Mm-hmm.
also talking to those same friends who's trying to break this down with them. It's like, well, what about time zones? Like, are the angels moving with the sun? It's like, wouldn't it make sense that they're like with the sun and coming down on the rays and moving? Because 12 o'clock here is not 12 o'clock in Atlanta, you know, and the
Yeah.
sun is not at its peak over Atlanta until this certain.
Mhm.
So you know that it's coming versus like everybody all over the earth meditating at that hour, you know, versus
Yeah.
the rays or the light of the sun that you're under, or the light of the moon for that matter, to operate in your hour
Mm-hmm.
of your planet. They're called planetary hours. It's a big thing in Solomonic magic, but it's a big thing in the Bible. If it was just Solomonic magic, it'd be one thing. If it wasn't, if we didn't have the watch hours in the scriptures,
Mm-hmm.
and every Christian, spiritual person would teach on the watch of the Lord, and if that wasn't a thing, then I wouldn't have, leaned into maybe there's more to what Jesus is at, saying certain hours that people have. And
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
so
There's definitely, I mean, to me, that even just confirms even more like the reality about angels. We're not confined to just creatures or angels that are coming in to just assist us. Like there's so much more. There's like,
Yeah.
You've got, I think there's even like gatekeeper angels, guardians, guardians of different, okay, I'm going to get real weird. I won't go on into all that, but
Seasons and
yeah,
Yeah.
seasons and different planets and
Yeah.
different solar systems. And like, I do think there's, ones that were created to govern the sun and the moon and, you
Yeah.
know, the different constellations. And like, there's just so much more that especially in mainstream Christianity, we have not opened ourselves up to, because it creates limitation when it's like, yo, there's so much more happening here.
Yeah.
Like there's so many more beings at play
Yeah.
all around,
you have to learn
Yeah.
to speak their language. You have to learn to, again, not look for a human. That's one
Yeah.
thing.
Yes.
But also look at the things that are already here. That's where the stranger comes in, because it is
Mhm.
it is the stranger. Hebrews tells you that for a reason, to
Mhm.
be kind to strangers, because some of you have entertained an angel. But all the other religions, especially the Greek, those stories are amazing. I love them because they give you so many more instances where that happened, and it was the gods who came down pretending to be. But it is Abraham, because it does tie into that. And because you blessed me, I'm going to bless you. And because you didn't know it was me, even makes it even more powerful. You thought
Yeah.
you were blessing a homeless person. This is where the energy comes in. If you
Mhm.
knew it was me, come on, who wouldn't bow
Yeah.
down and worship the King?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's those stories are amazing, and they're
Yeah.
called, like, Xenon, Xenona or something like that. Zeno. It's a Greek philosophy tradition. It was normal. If you didn't know the person, you had to go out of your way. I'll say where we're at now,
Interesting.
even more potent, is that when you think you know the person. So
Yeah.
it's like double down. Your neighbors, these people at church,
Yeah.
because they have a job. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've met them. They're angel. There's angels here that are people that
Yeah.
know who they are. They can't tell you.
Yeah.
None of them can tell you. You have to be the one to say it.
Yeah.
You have to learn and know and say, people can't do that.
Yeah.
People can't do
That's
that.
funny.
And if you say something, they won't tell you. They'll answer all your questions though,
Yeah.
but they won't tell you that just like John the Baptist told the Pharisees who he was, that he was Elijah, without telling them plainly who he was. That's a very interesting portion of scripture in John when we read that, because it's almost like a contradiction. He tells them who he is, but then he doesn't. It says he told them plainly who he was. The parable in that is that they didn't know the scriptures, because he says, I'm the voice of one crying out in the wisdom. He says, are you Elijah? Are you that prophet? Who are you? Are you Elijah? I'm the voice of one calling out in the wilderness. No, but who are you? Knew who the voice in the crying out in the wilderness was. I told you plainly. Everybody else knew.
Mm-hmm.
Pharisees, the ones teaching the scriptures, had no idea who the hell was in front of them.
Yeah.
We're the same way. We have no idea, with the different iterations and ways that God and the angels and Jesus shows up to us, because you think it looks a certain way.
Yeah.
But prepare to have your mind blown, man. Like, just, if not already, like increasing. Like, it's just, we're here because it's been blown. Like, even the fact that you said this is something we do daily, like daily encounters and daily strength.
Yeah.
That's I wouldn't believe me. Like, I wouldn't believe, like, if I was listening to my podcast and somebody like, oh, angels and demons and the smoke being and all of these things that I've seen and I talk about plainly, I wouldn't. You don't have a grid or have like any grid for it, and you're a skeptic and just somebody just saying it, you know?
Yeah.
See one, because like sometimes people are blessed to have like one or cursed to have one.
Yeah.
It starts with one. But not every day you seeing angels. Not every day not every hour you got a different angel you talk to. Like, what are you talking about, man? You know,
it does seem crazy.
It's so normal though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you see it play out in the fruit of our lives and stuff too. I mean, you see it play out in your person.
Yeah.
It's like, and it's like the fact that we're on here talking and there's a lot of people that listen to us. I think we believe what we're talking about.
No,
people can see your belief, and it's like, it's like, yeah. And then when you say something, when you say like, I've seen this and this, it's like, he saw it. You can tell when somebody's full of shit.
I want
or when somebody's delusional.
People don't play the devil's advocate with me, but like, that's how we grow. Like, that was a real, how do you know that that's what I would, you know, cause I do it with myself.
Yeah.
That I say I want somebody to do it. They don't need to, because I'm doing it with myself. Like that Christian, that, because I was the Christian, so I know how to do it and how to talk somebody out their beliefs. And how do you know? And and it still happens, you know, when you try to share it with people who aren't supposed to know. So that's the deal. There's a beauty in just like, hey man, let the chips fall where they may. You don't like my podcast? I don't like it either. Cool. Like, but somebody else loves this conversation. Somebody else loves this talk, and it's what they've been waiting on
for them.
Life. Like, that's beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So we want to cater to those people. I'm not here to debate anymore and all this kind of stuff. And I don't really even, how much I enjoy talking about it, stirs up the gift and expectancy. And there is so much power in what we're doing right now, just talking. But
for
I want to be able to show, and we are showing it in our love, in our devotion, in our eyes, and our work, everything we create, we're showing it that way. But like,
I also want it higher, to be honest. I want
to say, hey,
I want
guys,
there
watch
more.
this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I want to see the signs and wonders. And that thing has been stirring in my heart, is like, dude, yes, let them know me by my love. Let them know me by how much I'm willing to cover somebody and get behind them and push them. And like, I want that, but I also want them to be able to, like, I want to pull money out of a fish's mouth, like Jesus did. I want to, like, the supernatural reality. I'm not confined to the literal elements of this earth. Like, I will translate through time and space.
We will see the signs and wonders. We will display them.
And so what if, you know, Joshua making the sun stand still, and you talk about angels that govern the sun and the hours and things? What if it's like in this power, I command the sun? What if hey, I'm in with the angel and I gave an offering to the angel and told it during its hour, hey, can we can we make this happen next
Hold
week?
this up.
Because I'm going to be in a
Yeah.
position where I'm going to need something, and I'll give you something, in return. If it's an offering, or say your name, or wear your colored T-shirt, that's the thing too.
Yeah.
But when it comes to people asking me what makes this wicked, because we're talking about divination, we're talking about magic and all kind of crazy stuff. As Christians, where do you draw the line? What makes it wicked? It's the price. Because an angel, they're not going to do anything for free. The angels that came, like Abraham and them, fed those guys.
Mm-hmm.
They let them stay with them, and they made a meal for them. And you'll notice every time, even when at the top of Mount Transfiguration, they wanted to prepare food and create a booth for them and all this.
Booth,
they wanted to cater to them and serve them, or just honor them. Put it that way.
Honor, yeah.
What makes something wicked is what do they require of you? So that's how you'll know blood, you to hurt somebody, you to hurt yourself.
Yeah.
But that's wicked, because the whole thing that what really is how you tell the righteous from the wicked, not just spirits, but spirits that are in people, or people in general, is what they're willing to do to get what they want. So that's why politics is just, I'm not worried about those. I know what they're willing to do. I know oaths they're willing to take, and stuff that there's a price I'm not willing to pay. I want power. I want energy. I learn ways to get it on the dark side first. I'll tell you this, most of us would say I'm not willing to pay that price. I'm not willing to hurt anybody. I'm not willing to hurt myself or hurt an animal. Like, I'm not doing that to make a pact with a demon to get money or to levitate. No, I want to be able to cultivate the energy within myself and find out the ways that we can do this ourselves, and work with the angels that are here to assist us. And they're not coming for blood. They're not coming. It's, what do you have to pay it? What did you do to get it? That's what makes something like money is. It said, money is the root of all evil. No, the love of money. Why? Because what you're willing to do. As soon as that money changes hands, it's clean.
Yeah.
What am I going to do with the money? Who am I going to feed? What am I going to buy? What has been bought with it? The intention that you put behind your words.
Yeah.
It's magical. We got to know it, and we got to experiment with it.
That's it. We got to take it back. Yeah, we got to take it back, and we got to demonstrate it. I think once we do, all the false powers, principalities, like the power will slip out of their fingers once we carry the real thing. Yeah, that's cool.
They're waiting too.
Yeah, a buddy of mine and I, we've been talking about going on missions together in our dreams, because I think you can change things in the spirit. And I've had dreams with missions with him specifically before. We've been practicing that. Like, all right, dude, like texting before bed, like, all right, you ready? Let's go. We were at a lake house and built a dam in our dreams, and is this interesting thing. We were doing different things, but we were at the lake house. That's another thing that I'm finding interesting, and I feel like I'm being led into. In one dream that I had, it was a mission. It was a political thing. There was this football field, and there were two mascots, red and blue, just battling it out, and people were cheering on both sides. And I saw it, and then I went to this radio tower that was on this hill, and I went into this radio tower with angels, and we changed the frequency of this radio tower that was getting these people to like focus and on this battle that was happening, to pick one of two sides. And we went into the core of this thing, changed it. There was a demon that was there that was not pleased with it, but we did it. And so I do wonder, like, what are the ramifications of that? Who did that affect? Did that affect population in general? Did it rattle the system a little bit, the media? So there's things like that too. It's like if you pour your intention to it, or if the Lord shows you like, hey, speak into this, there's just so many more depths, things that are available to us, the hidden things that we can claim.
I don't, but yeah, we got to experiment. And that's what you guys are doing,
Yeah.
Something that we can measure it. Cause with science, you got to measure it. And we like, come on, we are where science meets spirituality.
Yeah.
Like look at light and color therapy. Don't just go to the, Bible or New Age. Like they got studies on all of this.
Tons of it.
Research on sage and what burning sage does. There's not, you calling it New Age because you don't understand it. No, let's look at the studies and see why. Oh, they burned it to keep spirits away. Because a Christian is going to tell you, sage, you just got a smoky demon. Man, look up the studies.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's ask the Lord, because they're tapping into the spirits. But if you knew how these spirits are made, they are elements. So they are a combination of different elements put together. So science will be able to tell you, when we, sage is a great disinfectant. It would, that kills bacteria. We saw that, different rates when you inhale frankincense, how it can destroy mucus and all kind. Man, look them studies up, because that'll build your faith, and because if God is not a respecter of persons. If it work for somebody else, it'll work for us. That's why the deception is so strong. If the popes were seen flying around, and the priest, and if Saint Teresa and all, they were flying all the time, and like you said, God is not a respect. If they can do it, we can do it.
Yeah, that's it.
The way to do it.
Yeah, I've been reading this book, and it's a lot of kind of just mystical things that have happened throughout all of church history. Those are parentheses, but history. But people who are Christians, right? Whether it's translating through time and space, like showing up in towns on the other side. And that's not just what happened in Acts, but there was a dude, I think he was in the 1500s, translated through time and space. He actually, his dad was on trial because his dad supposedly killed somebody. The judge was like, well, the only person that could actually render you innocent is dead. So the son translated through time and space, showed up and was like, hey, I'll raise him. So he raised him from the dead. The guy was like, yeah, he didn't do it. These other people did, whatever. And then the guy was like, yo, can I die again? And so then they just let him like go back to sleep. Which is just fascinating, but it also like bends your mind of like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, why are we playing so small? And it really stretched my faith, because I was like, you know what, I want to do that.
There can
and
be
that
no
wasn't even
caps. Like we had to be open to opportunities of what's possible,
and we can do it.
We can do it. That was that dream. I don't know if I shared the dream about raising the 3 dead people on here. There's another dream. I'm sorry, I have tons of dreams. But I had a dream, and there were basically 3 dead bodies. It was at a summer camp. So it was almost like a training summer camp ground, right? There were 3 dead bodies, ambulances and stuff. Well, I went to the first one, and it was just a dead person. And the Lord said, like, tell him to wake up. I said, wake up. Came back to life, got up. We moved to the second one, and this person was like dismembered. It was a pile of body parts, essentially. I'm like, man, okay, you want me to do the same to this? He said, yeah, tell him to wake up. I said, wake up. And the body parts morphed together, and this person came back to life. I go to the third one, and it's like a body, charred beyond recognition. There's nothing left. I'm like, this one ain't going to work. He said, you tell it to wake up. Tell that person to wake up. So I said, okay, out of faith. I'm like, all right, wake up. That thing came back together into a person. But it imparted to me, like, there are zero, you don't limit this thing. And there's old stories of like St. Nicholas.
Yeah.
Bringing these dead children back to life that were being cooked in like a stew or something. There are stories of this thing. And it's like, don't limit anything. Nothing's off the table. Signs and wonders, the things that couldn't be contained in the book. Like, what are those things? Because they're available.
Yeah, even with that being said, of like, so for me, how I'm experiencing it now, and I don't want to put how I'm experiencing it out of the physical body, raising the dead, right? Because that's where our minds start, of like, let's raise the dead. So and so died. We're gonna go to the grave. We're gonna go, and they'll be here physically, in a meat suit, not in a celestial or heavenly body, but even with all of that notion, to maybe even look at raising the dead that way, to where they're showing up here but even spiritually. And I don't want
Yeah.
that to, you don't want to put any chips all in one basket or even to be a cop
Yeah.
out because, oh, you're
Yep.
making up that they're here. No, no, no. Watch this. I can get them to open the door. I
Yeah.
mean, there's videos of people doing that, like supposedly.
Yeah.
I don't know how real it is, but of like ghosts or whatever that are in the house, and um, all of it's about energy and I say intention, but attention.
Yeah.
Like, do you believe like they've been here?
Yeah.
When you look at synchronicity, 11:11, 3:33, man, I'm seeing 11:11, 3:33, man, and man, this awakening, man, synchronicities are crazy.
Mm.
They are, right? The clock has been 11:11 twice a day your entire life. You're
Yeah.
just now, it's just now getting your attention.
Yeah.
You're not, man, all these things are happening. They've been happening. You've
Yeah.
been asleep. You're going
Yeah.
through the awakening because it's high time that we awaken from our slumber to realize who we are. And
Yeah.
it's a natural process. There's things that are happening in our life and on a they're trying to, like, for me, like even the Trump Biden thing is like, for me, it's a sign, it's a wake up thing.
Yeah.
How real do you think this realm is and that they're not in on it? And
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is like, it wasn't even just those two. I mean, it was,
Sure.
it was
It's always been.
politics thing was a long time ago for me, with to see like this is the best we got, and to see them in
Yeah.
real life versus um behind the
Yeah.
camera. But they're trying to wake us up. There's only so much they can do, with the UFO and like white, they're landing on the White House lawn and stuff. That, like, this, they only can help you so much. They
Yeah.
can't do the work for you.
Mm-hmm.
You're the one, because you're giving your power away or waiting on the Savior. Like,
Yeah.
Mm.
you're waiting on the Savior, but that hungry person's waiting on you. The book of
Yeah.
James tells us about this.
Yeah.
Faith without
Yeah.
works. Like, God bless you, my friend. We're going to pray for you. You'll get some food, and you've got more than enough food.
Yeah.
You have to be the answer. You have to be the manifestation.
Yeah.
And if you can't be trusted with that, to hell with you flying through a wall and talking to spirits at the campfire. Like, come on. You're not, if you can't help those whom you can see and love them who you can see, I can't trust you with people. How am I going to trust you with my angels?
Mm.
That's so interesting you said that. I was thinking about that driving over here today, of the extreme practicality that it is of fundamental Christianity. And I don't mean like fundamentalist, I mean like the foundation, the basic fundamentals are all practical. As you go up, okay, things are a little bit different, like the angelic stuff and
Yeah.
time travel and okay, anyways, but like the foundation of it all is extremely, extremely practical. The people that we're engaging with, the seeing God in other people, like if that's not our foundation that we're building upon, the rest of it is crap. It's like that doesn't even matter. I think that's what people get flighty. That's where, you have these weird, flighty people that stay immature, that don't grow into anything, that, all they are quote unquote mystical without any practical application.
Well, that's what DT said in his messages before. It's like, to be good at basketball, be a master of the basics, and then everything kind of sprouts out of that.
That's my rebuke to the new age and to those who are, and friends of mine, biblical students to a degree, maybe to debunk or debate, but they'll break the Bible down from the astrological perspective. And they throw this word in there, and these are the absolutes.
Yeah.
It's 2 words, all and only. And I'll catch anybody saying that, and to try to catch myself from saying it, right? But they say, the Bible is only astrology, man, or all of the Bible is only astrology. They're right, except the all and only. Because I have other friends who are amazing at what they do.
Yeah.
And the Bible is only a metaphor for the human body. The Christ oil is released and it goes up the spine and it travels and it ends in Golgotha and the two hemispheres of the brain between a thief and thieves. And like the Bible is that. Actually, our landmass is like mapped after the body. Like it is that. It's so we have a contention now because now there's two. Is the Bible astrology or is it your body?
Yeah.
It's both. It's everything.
Yeah.
Is it talking about now? Is there something higher than astrology past the stars? Yeah. It's talking about them too. And it's talking about their plight, and it's talking about their fall and their being reduced and their rise and their ascension. So maybe we're not privy to that. So they say, the Bible is not literal, and it's easy to say that the literal is like, the less appealing thing when you're like into the spiritual. Because I'll break it down for the most part, the spiritual, the angels, and all of that kind of stuff. But as far as the interpretation of all of the Bible, that I'm just like now in, but I represent bringing all those worlds together. I've made it my point because I know those people, and they're all right, and especially the literal too. So they say, well, the Bible's not literal. The Bible's just a metaphor. You're locked out of all the spiritual stuff. And Jesus is the gate, literally, that you enter through. What do you mean, literally? The Bible's just a metaphor of the body and the analogy and the cycles of life. And blah, blah. No, literally forgive your enemies. Literally pray for them who despitefully use you. Literally help the poor. Literally, if you're not in at the literal level, you're not getting to the spirit. You're a liar and a thief, is what Jesus says.
Yeah.
You got to come through the gate. He is revelation. He's all of it.
Yeah.
He is it. But then you're in him and he reveals to you when you need it. There's no skipping. You have to get it, and you have to literally love. You have to literally forgive. Sometimes you can do it in your heart. I just forgive him, Lord. Sometimes you literally got to call him. Hey, man, I'm sorry for what I listen. And I haven't told anybody, but maybe I have. I don't know, but it's kind of embarrassing. But just when God shows you things to ask for forgiveness. I mean, little ways to do it. I called it. I seen a dude a couple weeks ago that I started rapping with when I started rapping in 2004. And we were doing Christian rap in churches and stuff. And I feel like I'm talking to friends, but we're still being recorded. This is going live. Cool. This is what a podcast is supposed to be.
Yeah.
But we started rapping together, and then these guys, it was two other guys. We had a group called the Demon Killers. And then they were like, do church stuff with me, but they're also smoking weed and sleeping with girls, and just like, I'm married, and I'm a real deal Christian. I found these guys who can rap, and they want to do Christian rap, and we're learning together. We're learning how to rap and stuff. So we're in a group, and then I'm like, eventually I'm like, man, I can't move forward with these guys, man. Like, we're going to shows and they're like trying to hit on girls. I was like, there's no way. And so I was like, I'm just doing it by myself. So the little demo we put out, I took them off of the songs and put me on it, but I used their lyrics. And at the time, like, I don't know why, in my mind, I justified it. Because these dudes is, doing this, and I'm putting this stuff out and blah, blah. So I just like took their verses that they wrote and I rapped it on my first CD and put it out, and I justified it. And it wasn't hard. It wasn't even like a thing to think about. Oh, these dudes are doing evil, and I can't rock with that. Let me just go finish it. And I didn't stay close with them after the fact. Like, they heard the CD. Nobody said anything, but it wasn't even too recently. I seen the guy at a Mexican restaurant, and he was saying how he's, he's getting married and he's got a baby on the way and stuff. I was, oh, that's cool, man. Good to see you, bro. Hit me up. I know he makes beats and stuff now. And then like the next day, I'm walking my dog, just praying. And Lord's like, you seen him yesterday? Yeah. He's like, remember you stole his music? I was like, what? Yeah, you remember you stole his
Mm.
music and justified it? It's like, oh God, I did. That's crazy.
Mm.
I never
Mm.
saw like the weight of, I never heard somebody say it because I had it in my mind already that it was justified because of the life. There was no
Mm.
I was like, I gotta do something. I gotta ask him to forgive me, and I got paid off of that. It's not a lot of money, but I made
Yeah.
something. I gotta do something. So I'm just like, I don't have like a lot of money to give or anything. So it's like, man, let me just hit him up and ask and just apologize, and they probably looked at me a certain type of way after
Mm.
that. They never said anything.
Mm.
But it's like, you're the one who's, my spokesman on the earth, and it's okay for you to steal other people's lyrics, and now you're preaching and going to churches and stuff, but you're
Yeah.
dirty. That's a dirty person. Like, you shouldn't, that's not cool. So I was like, let me give him some money and let me message him. So in this
Mm.
forgiveness thing,
Mm.
sometimes you literally have to pick up the phone. I can tell God, there's been so many times where like I've done stupid stuff and I ask God to forgive me, and I'm forgiven, the things removed, and we just keep it moving. But you hurt a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Ask Jonah. The people, when Jonah was running from God, he's on the ship,
Mm.
and the tempest was coming for him. The spirits was coming. They were looking for the angels. They were looking for Jonah. Them people weren't running from God. Jonah
Yeah.
was. Them people lost luggage. Them people threw their personal belongings off the boat.
Yeah.
Jonah repents. Hey, I'll holler at y'all later, man. God forgives Jonah, restores Jonah. He keeps it moving. But he left people hurt in the wake of his mistakes. It's like,
Mm.
how can we make it right? Dang, dude, y'all didn't have to go through that because of me.
Yeah.
That's the level we got to be in to like know that there's a ripple effect by every comment, every post, every podcast.
Yeah.
And hopefully we've done wicked ones. We know that they're like by default. We just didn't know. So
Yeah.
now we know we can do good ones. We can plant seeds that
Mm.
continue to ripple and move out and touch people in generations to come. And that we wouldn't even do anything unless it has
Yeah.
that effect, you know?
What a display though. That apology 20 years later, it is now that apology is seasoned with 20 years worth of time. You think about that. That's like a snowball
Mm-hmm.
effect of redemption of like, and you caught it. You caught it now. It's like, all right.
So
That
weird how
apology's
I see it though. Isn't
I know.
that's strange?
But
Like,
you do now and you wielded it
But
like
it's
you were
like,
supposed to.
forgive him because
Boom.
you didn't know what you were doing, even in that. It's like
Yeah.
releasing yourself, forgiving
Forgive
yourself.
yourself.
Because it was like, if you had known what you know now, you would not have done that back then. But you didn't know what you didn't
no,
know.
because I
Well,
got
dude,
mad at people stealing my lyrics.
I know, but think about this. Think
No,
about if somebody stole your stuff 20
Yeah.
years ago. Are you going to get an apology 20 years later? That's so rare, man.
Yeah.
That's a diamond in the rough. It
That's
is.
showcasing God.
Yeah.
but that's how we got to be, literally
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
the hands
Yep.
and feet of forgiveness and show them.
So
Man,
good.
but the way it works too, though, like in the prophetic and stuff, and us just being like this, the Holy Spirit had to reveal it to me. I'm so hard-headed,
Mhm.
dumb, too prideful, whatever. I didn't even know.
Yeah.
But you don't know what he was praying.
Yeah.
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 Why 20 years later? Because of me and TruthSeekah's got to get it off his chest. I don't know what that man's prayers were. I mean, that's how it feels
Mhm.
to me. But we know
Mhm.
how God works. Like his prayer last night, I've been there. Trust, I'm not even like, this is how it works.
Yeah.
I've been there. Lord, we got $100. We need to pay our bills. They're going to shut the lights off. How God, listen, I'm obsessed with how he ties these things together. I am.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And I have many stories, and just like you guys do
Yeah.
too, of how he does it. But it's not about us.
Yeah.
That we're asking to be used, and that being used is you sucking up your pride and admitting that you were wrong and making restitution. I mean, even many times when Jesus healed people, he said, y'all go give an offering. go show yourself to the priest and give an offering. Like it was not over yet. This is the start. Carry this thing out. Show them. I've been able to trace it back in my life early on. Like early on, there's some things I've learned early on to know that God is the author and finisher of. Nothing is for naught. Like everything has a purpose, and it is the purpose of, because I was the person who didn't have the $100 to pay the bill, and we pray and come home and I have the money, like folded up from the person God told me to give it to, a couple months before, who was struggling. $100, I got the same $100 back when I needed it.
Yeah.
And but they didn't want me to know it was them. It was like, and I didn't want them to know it was me. So when you but when you needed it, I come home from work. My wife we lived in a 30-foot camper when we got married. My wife is listening to worship music on her knees, just bawling, crying. And I was a little bit late because I went like mud riding with some friends or something. Like I usually don't do, just stay at home. But I went out. I was like, oh, is she mad that I went somewhere without her or something? You know, I come home and she's crying. I was like, oh God, you okay? She's like, show me the note. That's how you know what this. And it just simply said, Aaron and Derek. It looked like a little kid wrote it. Merry Christmas, $100 bill, shoved in our mailbox. When literally our prayer was, we need $100 to pay the rent because we don't know where we're going to get it. We trust you. How are you going to do it? Well, you remember that seed you planted and you were obedient? Is it contingent on the seed? I don't know. I do know that's how it worked out. So guess what? I want to plant more seeds. And I didn't plant the seed to give. So now when I plant seeds, I don't want to, or to get, I don't want to plant a seed to get. I plant a seed because it's the right thing to do. That we'll never even see a tree grow from. We'll never get to enjoy the shade of a tree that we're planting. That's what separates the righteous from the wicked. That right there. You plant a tree because it's the right thing to do, and the generations to come will benefit. You don't see any immediate benefit from it right now, but you know it's the right thing to do, and you do it anyway. People want to be used by God and see angels. I do. So I have to try to stay here and then know that this is the ground that he operates in, and try to, cultivate that. It's not easy by any means, because we're selfish, we're all kinds of things we're dealing with, and insecure and all kind of stuff. Because trust me, the devil spoke. I heard God's voice. I heard the devil's voice too. The devil's trying to take my $100. Keep it for yourself. Because it was like my first job. We were going to my first paycheck, and I was going to go to the mall with my little $100 in 2004, whatever it was. No, it was actually earlier than that. It was like 2001. Going to the mall, buy me some new clothes. I got a $100 bill burning in my pocket. We're praying outside of church. Like church went over because we used to just get in the spirit, and we're just praying for each other and worshiping God, and got everybody. The pastor's locked up and ran us outside, but we're all like just seeking God outside. That's how we used to make it happen. But I knew the person was struggling, got laid off from their job. It's older dude too. But the Lord said, give him that $100. What? Give him what? That $100 in your pocket? Slide it in that. Don't let him see you. Slide it in his pocket. Oh God, is this the Lord? Is this, maybe it's the devil? Because immediately fear comes in and reasoning comes in. Try to rationalize it. Well, if the devil is trying to take your money, you're supposed to go enjoy that $100. It's your first. Go enjoy it. The devil's trying to take it. Don't let the devil take your money. It's like, I say the devil, it's you. It's your ego. It's your own, both of them are. You want to get deep. The Lord speaking to you, he uses your faculties. Like, come on. You have thumbs or lips. He can't see. He can't be seen. He can be felt. He can be experienced. So, I went and asked my wife at the time, hey, I felt like God. Pulled her aside. Hey, I think God speaking to me to give him this $100. And at the time, it
Yeah.
was like, if God told you, do it. Like,
Oh, that's cool.
no, we're going to the
Mm.
mall. Don't do it. It's like, no,
I
if
love
God
that.
spoke to you, shoot, if it's God, you got to do it. And I just made it praying. I just went up behind and slipped it in. And that was that. Boom. Never.
Mm-hmm.
Let
So
it
that was like
fly.
in September. Then come around December, we're at this moment of just getting started and trying to pay bills and stuff and come up short. He's got a way of working it all out. And
Yeah.
I mean, he continued to do that. And the way he did that with 100,
Yeah.
he'll do it with 1,000,
Mm-hmm.
So true.
1,000, 10,000. It's the same faith.
Yeah.
I can't trust you with them people. I can't trust you with the angels.
Yeah.
Oh, no. If it's an angel, Lord, those are my angels too, and you can't even see it.
Yeah.
That homeless man is an angel. He's not a real person. He's written into your story you have the poor with you always.
Yeah.
I'm going to always write the less fortunate into your story. There's always going to be people who aren't doing as good as you are.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do?
Yeah.
Get a job,
that's good.
lucky bum. What do you do?
Yeah.
Can't give them all your money. I'm at the place now. I'll try to give them all. You can't. That's
Yeah. No. Yeah.
either.
Well, there's a thing too we've been talking about. It's like we're the good guys for the sake of being the good guys. We give for the sake of giving. And I mean, I have a story. It's one of my favorite stories ever, and it involves $100. For some reason, I don't know why it's always got to be $100.
Back when
But
$100.
my wife and I, yeah, that was a lot, man. My wife and I we were poor. We both worked at this barbecue restaurant, and to go eat out somewhere was Taco Bell. It was like the nachos, right? And bring it home. And that was like the pinnacle. But when we went to a restaurant one night, it was probably some kind of big date night. It was an eventful thing. And we were there, and there was this huge table, huge, like bunch, at least 20 people. And they ate their food and left. The waitress didn't tip her, nothing, treated her like crap the whole time. And we're sitting there, we have like enough food to eat, and then almost nothing. We had nothing. And what was crazy is there's that need to like self-protect, like we need to save our money, protect ourselves. Our immediate response, it was almost like psychically like, we've got to give her our money. We have to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had $100, gave her that. And my wife went into the bathroom. The lady was in there crying, the waitress. My wife went into the bathroom, put her arm around her, and was just there for her, gave her the $100. And that was all we had. I mean, we went home and it was like, we don't have money and we don't care. Yeah, that was worth it. You may never see the ramifications of it, but it means the world. That changes everything. That throws a cog in the world. Moments like that. I will be good. You can't buy me. You can't convince me otherwise. I'm going to do what's right for the sake of it. And that's powerful. It's like what you're saying, that $100.
I know those people, and I say the money thing. I'm not there, but you still have to trust them with whatever you have.
Yeah.
I know the people who can do it. So I'm speaking firsthand. It's definitely, all I have is all mine is thine and all thine is mine. Like it's how it works. But I know the people who can give you a building. Like,
yeah.
And I think we even talked about this before, but they do. God wakes them up. Just like he wakes me up and says, hey, give them $100.
Yeah.
He wakes them up and says, hey, give them a building. It's the same thing.
Right.
It's your resources that you have that is in your ability to make an impact for the kingdom.
Yeah. That's it.
And if he can trust you with it, he can trust you with more.
Yeah.
So keep looking for.
That's it.
You can trust
I think it always starts small.
Heartbeat.
I've seen it in so many ways.
Yeah.
It's like the smaller it is, the more you should do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If it seems that insignificant,
yeah.
take the bait on that, because that will only increase.
Yeah.
Dude, I can't even tell you. I have so many stories about that. The money thing or the but it doesn't even always just show up as money. Like,
yeah.
random example. we literally couldn't even afford groceries over a weekend. Like,
Yeah.
had zero money, wasn't even going to be able to eat. Nothing was in the fridge. And I had a lady that was like, yo, I was praying for y'all. And I felt like and literally brought us a ton of food to last us for the whole weekend. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like, the reality that we live by cannot be of anything in this temporary domain.
Yeah.
It has to be so much higher.
Well, and like the small thing, it really is it's a maturity growth, but it's like an exchange of value. It's like, okay, this money is valuable to me here. I'm going to exchange it for the value of faith, the value of heaven. And each little
value
thing,
of
you
person.
exchange value to the point where, hey, $5 billion, that doesn't mean as much to me as this.
Yeah.
The faith and the ability to give it. Like it loses its substance and replaces it with the substance of heaven, of the Lord.
Yeah.
Widows might. I mean, that's that parable, that story. Like, she gave more.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, literally only barely gave anything, but it was more. It was given sacrificially. It was given with purpose.
Yeah.
It was given with tears.
Yeah.
It was those who sow with tears will reap in joy.
Yeah.
Like, that was hard work. That's all she had.
Yeah.
Everybody else is giving
So
more
good.
and letting it be seen what they're giving. And,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, that was nothing. You didn't give me anything.
Yeah.
You gave me just scraping off the top. She reached down to
everything.
That's how energy works. And
That's it.
That's how this whole thing works. About the little things. God, it always goes back to angels with me. It doesn't, but it does. Somewhere along the line, you're going to run into angels. Just is what it is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The angels work the same way, of what you're, able to honor, or to start with the little things. And they're not coming, they're already here. Just like the 11:11.
Yep.
What do you think puts that there? They're already here. And you could, you could see them from time to time. You can get better at seeing them. I want to see them. Like, it's not the in game seeing them. You see them because once you see one, you want to see another. Then you want to see another. So that's not the end game, but it's like, when that's your reality, you can see what you're entertaining in there, and they can trust you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to prove that you can, that they can trust you. I mean, look what happened to them. I mean, even with, we talk about, if we want to just look at aliens or whatever, why they're not coming down or showing themselves. What would we do to them if an alien manifested in my room and I talked to it, and I grabbed it and put it in a cage and called the cops? Hey, I got a freaking alien, man. I knew they were real. Come get it. Okay, we're gonna get it. First of all, what would they do to me? They probably kill me. But they're not stupid. They know energy and intention. I can't trust you. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. When you're ready to sit down and have a dialogue and not be freaked out and scared and run off, because that's probably the first thing, just to be honest with.
That's most of it.
So much of it now, it's still scary, because it startles you, because it doesn't look like you think it's gonna look.
Oh yeah.
And like you said, you'll be pulled out of the encounter.
Yeah. Out of the purpose of it. Yeah.
Because you're enamored on either what it looks like, or you're afraid of it because you wanted it to look like a human.
Yeah.
What if they look like a bug?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we talked about this a lot already. We're gonna keep talking about
the bugs.
What if trust me, like, every time I see, we was around a yellow jacket at the Renaissance Festival, and I was just like, it's gonna go up my nose, isn't it?
Oh man.
You guys got to hear that episode with James on my show, though.
Yeah,
I was thinking about you, because that thing's gonna go up my nose, isn't it?
Yeah. You'll be okay.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Even if that angel shows up the nose.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true though. I mean, I told you, like, that angels for me, they're always blue and gold. It's kind of like the Starry Night here. I had it right on my wall one time. I was watching Star Wars one night after a group meeting, and the living room lit up. And I'm like, oh, there's a source of light in here. And I turned over on the wall, and it was similar to this blue and gold starry night. It was like a plasma electric energy. I'm completely sober, by the way, and awake, and it's drawing the infinity symbol on my wall. And
When was
it's
this?
so bright. This was, when did the Boba Fett show come out? I think it was like a February.
Oh, that's a good
Yeah,
show.
it was the beginning of this year.
I could pinpoint the exact date of it, but it was like, it was doing this, and it lit up like my chimney. You can see the shadows reflected. It was a physical light. And I'm like,
do me a favor and get in and let me know. I just want to compare notes on the
Yeah.
date. But go ahead.
okay, yeah, I'll dig it up for you. But I saw it, and then that night I had the dream about these blue angel jets, same color.
Mhm.
And so, but I saw it. I mean, and I watched Star Wars, but I was cool with it. I'm like, okay, there's something there. I didn't freak out. I'm just like, okay, you're talking to me. What's this about? But I welcome it.
Mhm.
I welcome communication. I welcome whatever it looks like. Whether it's a bug or a big old shiny plasma light on my wall that doesn't make sense. But it's almost like something you could touch, But it was there.
Yeah, so in ancient Egypt, I would say it would kind of look like my backdrop for it looks like a
Yeah.
smoke for people.
Yes.
But they would
Smoky plasma.
they would project, plasma. It's just energy. And then the
Yeah.
energy takes shape to show you something, is all it
Yeah.
is. Sometimes
Yeah.
sometimes you can see it, sometimes you can't.
Yeah.
They would use technology to shoot a light through a cathode ray tube that would project a big image on the wall.
Mm.
And they would be able to communicate with the spirits of the land and whatever spirit they believed they could manipulate the tiniest part of a molecule of an atom to where it can move this hazy fuzz around enough to show a face or show a symbol or a rune. Pay attention to runes.
Yeah.
Which pay attention to Hebrew letters. Let's just say that.
Mhm.
Same thing.
Yeah.
These symbols, because they can easily do those things. For them to come up and do these huge grandiose things, there's a lot of energy that has to happen and take place. But they would project through that on the wall, and it was just a normal thing that they would do. Those same cathode rays or whatever, those are what was put in the televisions. Old school televisions, that was a little tube that light was projected to it and then blew up on the screen.
Yeah.
And images would begin to project. They would send information like wirelessly throughout the atmosphere, and antennas pick it up. Come on. So who did they get that from? I mean, even the Egyptians, like our bodies can do that.
Mhm.
Like our hair is an antenna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When the spirit comes in the room, and I've been feeling it the whole time, and every time I say it, I feel it even more. The hair on your body stands up.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It chills. Your body is the spirit antenna. You are the spirit box. You are the channel. Purple and blue.
Purple and blue. That's it.
So good.
Yeah.
So pay attention. And I know I love talking about this stuff, even for the sake of talking about it, but it's the more you do, the more it becomes normal.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
The more it invades your life.
It leaks through.
Or somebody else they can, because I want other people to do it too.
Yeah.
Do it and tell me what you found. Oh, I know how to levitate. This is it. Cool. Come to me. Tell me.
Yeah.
Let's do it, because what I find, I'm sharing. I'm telling everybody.
That's cool. Let's try it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Man, what y'all want to promote? The podcast? People go check out the episodes.
That's it. The Ancient Way podcast.
Yeah.
That'd be it. And then we're on like Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, we are.
We're gonna get on YouTube, but we have a group on Facebook and Instagram. We kind of interact with people and talk and hang out.
Yeah.
Nothing too fancy, nothing too heavy, but
nothing too
trying
fancy,
to be
nothing too heavy. Not talking about y'all just get to open up with me on here, or is this I'm assuming this is regular conversation at some point, right?
Yeah.
We usually talk about this kind of stuff.
Just connect with the person, right?
It's fun talking to you though, because there's really no holds barred. the openness of it's great.
Mhm.
We never really tone it back, but there's just different people, and it's
Different
like
people have different stuff,
have
and we
different
want to pull
stuff.
the good out of what people are carrying. And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah. But
yeah,
this is about normal for us. Like
yeah,
the writing on the wall thing. I told her in that episode. I guess it was the day after it happened, or
yeah. I mean, we
I
did
just
an
like, hey,
episode on it,
this light wrote on my wall last night. Yeah, it's on the.
and then like a week later, I saw a green orb come in.
You saw the light after that,
Mhm.
and then Alan saw something.
Yeah,
Another guest we had on. So it was a chain reaction of
yeah.
You
smoky
guys will see
plasma
it
lights.
all physically when you see it though. It's like
Yeah.
Oh
literally-
yeah.
Yeah.
This light was straight up physical.
yeah. We got
Yeah,
we got to champion that the literal.
Yeah,
Everyone
man.
could see it, not just me.
Yeah.
literally everyone.
But I will send you that date though. We'll coincide it. I'll find the
I
exact
like to look.
date, probably time. Cool.
Yeah. So was it at night or what time was it?
It was at night. I would say it had to have been between 9 and 11, somewhere in that 2-hour time frame, I bet. Because we had like a group, we had like a Bible group study men's thing that night, and I got home, tuned in to Boba Fett, and that's when it happened.
That's funny. Mine was like 7 or 8 because I was putting Bexley to bed.
Really?
Yeah, I was
Hey,
rocking.
we all
her.
got different hours, right?
That's
Yeah,
it.
I know.
That's it.
That's
Mine was at
that's what I
noon.
thought. I was like,
Mine was at like noon, but I had
Mm.
a similar experience. I just wanted to see, but I mean, so obviously the same hour doesn't line up where like everyone's being taught this, whatever thing,
Yeah.
the infinity symbols or whatever. But
Interesting.
but I was taught that at noon, around that time, for sure. But it was the time of the year anyway. But all of these are notes,
Mhm.
for repeatability.
Cool.
So as
So interesting.
as everything's moving, we know, what time class is in session, and
Yeah.
I am, doing my best to try to at least keep notes and the time, the phase of the moon. If
Yeah.
any of it matters, maybe none of it matters. Maybe you're looking too deep into it, TruthSeekah. All you gotta do is say in Jesus' name, and they can tell you. They show up when they want. I don't know. Maybe they can.
Yeah.
But maybe they
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah.
Some of this has repeatability, but there's rules to it. I don't know all the rules. I've been able to duplicate these encounters with people, teach them, show them, create another beautiful encounter, and other times nothing at all.
Interesting.
And it's like, what do you do? And here I am confidently teaching on this stuff and how it works, but then I try to just do what I've done, and it's nothing. It's the clothing I'm wearing. So you got to start ruling out little things, because clothing and your energy is a big thing. It was in the Bible anyway. I don't know, but if you're asking, you can be taught when you need to know. Maybe I don't.
You're
need to
asking
know
and
right
you're
now.
honest. Yeah.
Maybe I don't need to know right now. I trust the process that we're all on, not just me, but the way God, when you're ready, He's got a way. I know what it's like to dive in when you're not ready.
Yeah.
Think you're ready and you're willing to do anything. That's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah, ask the Lord. I think that's a key. Is like what we were talking about is like go with the Lord. And it's like whatever. If you're exploring stuff, go with him. Be like, yo, is this time and season for me to explore this?
Yeah.
Is this a time and season for us to do this? Because otherwise you're moving in your own strength. You're just trying to force a thing to understand a thing. And it's like, hold on, let's go with him.
Follow him. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think that there is that aspect. He wants to teach us just as much as we want to learn. I think even more so. And so I think it's doing it with him is so incredibly important for whatever you're doing.
And there's things that I've prayed for back, before, little things, big things that like now I can look back and say I desired that thing so aggressively, almost violently, but I would not have been able to handle it. It would have killed me. It would have corrupted me back then.
Yeah.
Whatever it was. And now I'm like, okay, now I'm stepping into it. I'm like, thank God.
Yeah. Thank God it's now.
Yeah. Like, wow, man.
Oh, for sure.
But
for sure. Well, I mean, exciting times. Not ahead, but now.
Yeah.
And we've had some exciting times too, right? In the past.
Oh yeah.
One who was, is to come. More coming.
That's it.
right now and more coming. But tap into the now, everybody. Hopefully,
Mhm.
not hopefully, I know this built faith. So hopefully this podcast goes out to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People who need it. Let me rephrase that. Forget a lot of people.
Yeah.
The people who need it, you
It's
know,
good.
it's going to benefit. And I already know it's going to benefit a lot of people because I'm the only one riffing on this stuff. And I love to be able to play tennis, if you will, you know, with other
Yeah.
people. Like, yeah, oh yeah, it's happening to me. Yeah, the bugs, the insects, the angels, God, Jesus.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff I could do, I just can't say the name Jesus. I have to say, so I can, and the other person will just shut down and think I'm religious or something. But
Sure.
Mhm.
but guys, thanks for hanging out for this long and listening.
Yeah.
To
Oh,
me,
yeah.
man. I enjoyed talking. Sorry, I know I overtalked so much, but man, thank you
good.
No, I
guys
really value what you say.
for sharing.
So good.
Yep.
And likewise, so I want my audience to go and check you guys out and other people to know that they're not alone in something, you know, that they're into, that God's called them to.
Yeah.
The mystery and the simplicity which is in Christ. So
Mm.
be blessed, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us for this. Let us know in the comment section if you'd like to hear us do another one. Hear us do another podcast together. I've enjoyed all three that we've done, all four now. 4 talks.
Same.
It's been good.
Yeah.
Trust me,
Yeah.
I get messages like daily to talk to people. I don't.
You're like, nah, I'm
selective.
good.
Cool.
Hey, I emailed them. No. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
I love y'all. Y'all be
Yeah.
blessed. We'll talk soon,
Love you
everybody.
too, man.
Peace.